Gonna try to line up and scary repositions one instantly. 1, 2, 3.
We'll see what they
A ranked game right now. Oh, we're here on Star Out, potentially even an ace
into the cosmic divide. Deny vision,
oh, what's going to do? They already breach up onto A. Spray. Is there gonna be more? Goes for real. That's more. Is it?
Flaring, Popsos gets a hit, gets one more. Flaring with 3. The beginning of Split 1 as well as Split 2 alongside the playoffs. Yeah, they bring us here today to the lower bracket finals. Tash Money here alongside Xeno Viper. We are your casters today for the VCT MYSG Split 2. And what's really interesting is the fact that the plot twist that bring us here today, we're going to be seeing a best of 5 between Enigma as well as X10. Sorry, not Enigma and X10. My bad. I'm so sorry, Enigma.
She went there, guys. She went there. As you know, Enigma was eliminated by X10
we're
in
talking
an
about
unprecedented manner.
Yeah, exactly. The way I was thinking about that was mostly because Enigma was eliminated by Kizuna.
Yeah, that's a
That
whole
was a whole plot twist that I was not expecting, which is why the typo in my mouth.
I think it's just more exciting to lose matches today. Like usually the hype's in the grand finals, but nothing hypes me more than today
This
itself.
one, yes.
Kizuna, literally, that were my Cinderella team that made it all the way up
Kizuna.
here. Now top 3.
Not X10, Kizuna.
Not even X10. It was Kizuna because remember they had to fight through the relegation stages and coming through here right now. Basically, they lost to the Monks, but now they're top 3. Think about it. Let's go.
Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's okay. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat. I ain't never really wanna flex my gifts, but I think it's my time. Let me check my wrist. You can never get my shine, I'ma keep on grinding till I reach the tip top. When it's just in my jeans and I ain't looking back, cause I'm feeling like Chris, bro. They can never slow me down, but they need to hate me, now I'm feeling like Chris. Rock with the team, cause you know that we winning, we with it, we going, we flowing again.
And that's the faces that are remaining that you will see throughout today and tomorrow when these teams are going to battle it out for one spot in Ascension that's going to be happening in Bangkok, Thailand, by the way.
It's very soon when you think about it. And I think what's really scary is the fact that it's only one slot. And I have to say that this particular Split 1 and Split 2 has shown us so many, not only Sunrise teams, but also teams that are really breaking the boundaries in terms of moving forward all the way till the end. I mean, me and you, we've been casting this since last year, or even you since before that. And you have seen massive leaps from these teams and these players individually as well as a team. But today, now on the lower bracket finals, we're going to be seeing 2 teams today, which is X10 as well as Kizuna. X10, a team that we have seen a shuffle as well as a huge leap in improvement where we already had projected would come here to the lower bracket finals or at least the grand finals. And now we also have Kizuna who broke boundaries in taking down the main favorites, Enigma, to make it here today.
No, that's the thing. Like now you say that X10 had its big changes. You know what? I argue that's actually Kizuna. They've got one of the, I think, the most effective rosters in right now. We can always talk about it when we come to the players' faces. If we see them, the IGLs, they came in, they make a big difference. Of course, literally the person to dethrone is actually going to be Bleed Esports. They're just there, sitting on a throne, waiting for them to come and get a conquest done. But who will it be?
Yeah, speaking of Bleed, if you guys didn't know, Bleed has been up here in MYSG ever since the departure of Paper Rex all the way up to franchise. They've been terrorizing the other teams and so far has not been really shaken off the throne. However, these teams do come pretty close. We have seen maps taken away and in situations we start to think whether or not Bleed will be able to hold it out toward the end.
Yeah, exactly. When I think in the first rounds of playoffs, basically Bleed was the one that actually dropped one map to X10. So you say, the Kings, they can bleed, gods can bleed. I want to show you the brackets and just, to see where we are standing here soon. But just a quick refresher for playoffs. Bleed pretty much went undefeated in terms of like series, but maps, they did drop one. But of course, the one that we want to say goodbye as well was actually Tio and Bikini Bottom Prada House. You got to highlight those teams in the playoffs.
We should, but let's have a look at the brackets first. And this is where the story really shines.
Yeah.
Now, if we can have it up right now, looks like it's not happening quite yet. So let's talk a little bit about that. So we had a few teams. I mean, like what's really, I think, heartbreaking for us is the fact that, I mean, in Split 1, we had one of the most hyped storytelling team ever, which was Team Path, a huge Sunrise team, a team that took a map from one of the biggest teams so far. And I think everyone was pretty much so excited about it.
That was Path. I mean, coming in fresh, of course, as one of the other only Malaysian teams, full Malaysian roster, I'd say, besides from Todak, right? But of course, because we don't see them past the relegations, so when we had the group stages, allow me to just bring to you the scores again. It was Bleed lying the top, Enigma second, Kizuna was third place. X10 was fourth. That was definitely something I didn't expect. That's why when I see Kizuna was taking the third place there, I was thrown off my feet, like with Flaring, still also leading one of the main players of Kizuna as well. Addition now of course, Shinsei and Bryce from LVR. I think it kicked the entire team up to another level in terms of aggression and map control. But when you come into X10, you were saying it yourself, they're a team that adapts so well as also responding and creating their own element of surprise to the enemy.
I mean, when we look at the brackets, let's have a look at the story here where the upper bracket was taken by Bleed and EG and Kizuna here up the top side. Now, what's really interesting was the fact that for coming forward here, I think the biggest upset was the EG and X10, sorry, the Kizuna and EG match. Because honestly, when I was watching the game, I was projecting a 2-1 and in favor of Enigma. And I think for a long time, Enigma has been seen as this force to be reckoned with,
That's
right? And then there was a change in their roster toward the mid side of the split. And we were questioning, okay, would we see a better thing? But for Kizuna, because I would say with the pickup of the new two players, it shows a big, huge spike in power. And on top of that, it complements their playstyle so very well. And even the other day, when Kizuna beat X10, Redco himself tweeted that Kizuna picked up 2 of the bright Louvre players.
Exactly. I mean, the fact that the only time that I remember when they went up against each other in split 1, that was when Kizuna actually defeated X10. So that's my brain is blown, like nothing of this makes sense right now. Where, and if Enigma loses both series in the playoff brackets, and now we have top 3 of your Kizuna, Bleed lost a map to X10.
Right.
So that's why anything can happen. I cannot predict it.
Yeah, and speaking of that map in particular, the X10 match against Bleed is something that I want to really highlight here. Because even if it was a 2-1 loss, the matter of the fact is the matches, actually map 1 and map 3, were pretty close in score. Map 1, 13-11, and map 2, I believe it was an overtime. Which really shows that the drive and power these boys can bring to the table in terms of going up against the best is definitely there. And I think that X10 is definitely a team that I think we talked about Kizuna. I really want to shift it toward X10.
Okay, sure.
The fact that they're just really good when it comes to like making up comps. I mean, if you look at split 1 all the way to split 2, they have changed a lot in terms of comps. And the beginning of split 2, when Redco came in, we saw 2 different, I would say, agent compilations coming into each map. So it's really hard to predict what exactly they will be playing coming into this game today. And coming on top of that, I think they have one of the stronger split plays so far when you look at the entire team. I mean, we did do a sort of a bot review last night about that, and I was honestly just so in awe because when you talk about a team that's running a Gecko in MYSG, we haven't seen a successful one yet other than X10's.
Partially just because also it's the new agent there for the nuances to complement
exactly,
it.
but
and
they understood it so well.
That's right. Which agent can it actually replace properly? In case most of the time it's a Sky, where you did a raw review yesterday. So therefore, like if Gecko can make its mainstay in a map, especially like Split with so little corners and many places to check, it might actually go, go ham, provided if Kizuna actually sees this coming and might ban it out from X10.
I think that is really exciting to think about it. I mean, we were already projecting some of the maps coming forward. I mean, Kizuna, we already know, would be running the usual comp, which was Pearl. But let's talk a little bit more about X10 here. And I really want to talk about how exactly they work as a synergy team. Now, when you have this team, I would like to say that all of them are individually skilled. Vera as a duelist, Wayne used to be a duelist coming into a controller, and Redco as an IGL formerly coach. I think there's a whole new, I would say, dimension coming into the game when you are a coach as well as an IGL, because your brain works a little bit differently.
Well, you take the backseat most of the time. Like he's not forerunning the entire facade, the plan. Like he lets his team, he initiates of course the controls for his team. Vera goes in first. We got the support from Thames and Egoist most of the time sitting on behind. We want to let Egoist cook. We want to let him, get the big picture for X10 to execute their plan. So that's why I like about Redco. He is actually big brain.
He's actually a big brain. I think that for his team, everyone is basically a puzzle piece or a chess piece for him to move around. And I think that even though you want to say it is a puzzle piece or chess piece, he moves around, you have to talk about them in general on their own, I would say, decision making. Because some of the time, right, I think that the repositions and a movement, I think it's not even done by Redco. It's just literally them making the decisions by themselves and just checking in in with Redco whether or not it's okay.
Just a friendly reminder as well. We had the first iteration of X10. That was also Chrisania and Neff that was in there. And of course,
then
they
Neff
both left,
moved,
right?
yeah.
Neff moved to Bleed. I was thinking that, if you lose Neff as such a good IGL, but, being replaced by someone of the same caliber, I think it's working out for them. So right now, if let's say they were the one that goes up again in the grand final, they are going up against Neff again.
Yeah, basically they're looking at him like, oh, so this is the guy who has left us. So, coming
rivalry,
forward.
huh?
Yeah, but now let's talk a little bit more about like how exactly intricate they play. And I think that for X10, because they're so diverse, like if they say you have a playbook, right? There's all the pages for every single scenario coming forward. And we have to talk about the mid-round adjustments as well coming from them. They've been pretty huge. I think that coming into the game throughout the entire split 2, I think because of Redco's, I would say, more involvement with the team, I think that what's really great is the fact that they are changing how they play, not only in every single map, but in every single series. Like say like you microscope them in one match, say they had a previous match with this team, it is likely you'll see a very different style of play in the next one. So even for us as analysts, we're even caught off guard and we're just like, wait, this was not what we saw in the VOD review last night.
Exactly. So I think it's just more like these, when you say mid-round adjustments, it's like how you actually adapt in the game itself. But sometimes post-match, people might even bring in a whole different lineup. So that was maybe what we were expecting out of X10. But now, of course, let's deep dive into Kizuna real quick. Of course, the two newest members we know will be Bryce and Shinsei, of course. The powerhouses, I think, like one's the chef and the other's an explosive.
Oh man, Stir Chef and Explosive. You know what? I changed that. One Stir Chef and the Shinsei as a big sambal in the wok.
To you guys who don't know what sambal is, it is an amazing spice made into a sauce in our local dishes of Malaysia and Singapore. And trust me, the level of heat is there. And I believe that Shinsei can bring that in here. He has his own journey. He has his story to tell. But of course, touch base on the others where Flaring, Kimi, and Riza, they were the mainstays of Kizuna moving on in here. And so far, I think the gelling is seeing more and more prominent now approaching the end of Split 2. So I'm very excited to see how they can fare up against X10.
I think that for Kizuna, they really haven't been changing up the way they play. And I think what really works for them is what's not broken doesn't have to be changed. Don't fix what's not broken. And Kizuna is exactly that. We know that they are, they want to be the kings of Pearl. So far, the unchallengeable kings are still Bleed. They come pretty close though. So there are moments where they come close. Then I think what's really great about them is the fact that they do the same map, the same comp, the same lineup over and over again. And every day they said, okay, what was wrong with our set play here? And how do we, I would say, cement it to make it even stronger? And I think that's exactly what a team brings. And we really want to talk about Mark, their coach. I think that ever since Mark joined them, it's bring a different sort of dimension to the team. I mean, like, I would argue that they are very one-dimensional. They do the same thing. But at the same time, you have to talk about the adjustments that come through, the micro adjustments, I would say the adjustments in terms of trying to fix what was not working in the previous matches to bring them here today.
So the difference between what I noticed in the game style of Kizuna versus X10 is that X10 adapts, like snaps, and then changes the play altogether. Whereas for Kizuna, if it fails, they will still do it again, but with better improvement.
Exactly.
So it's not really like a huge level of adapting, but it's more like how do you add on improvements? Mark 2, Mark 3, get on the plan. So, and sometimes it can actually overwhelm the opponent. So, two different teams, two different dynamics. So it's really hard to like put on the platter which is going to come out on top, especially when it comes down to the map picks. When we know, of course, the statistics, X10's maps off the charts. A lot of them, they almost haven't dropped maps. But Kizuna, not a lot of good map wins, but they are still top 3. So that means something. There is an Achilles heel to be exploited in X10 if Kizuna can find it.
Now, let's talk a little bit about head-to-head here. And I really want to talk about the IGLs today. Now, we know that Redco used to be the IGL from Louvre in Split 1 before coming over into X10. And I was shocked that he still maintained that position coming into, the split. Now, looking at Riza as well, he's been the IGL for a long time here. For Kizuna, I think he hasn't moved at all. And I think let's talk a little bit about the differences. We know that Redco is a little bit more of a big brain. He's the guy that we talk about in terms of like how he works and how he plays. He is so, the fact is, when you saw him in Louvre, right, how the comms worked when he was the IGL before, is that he is not only the person that can act like an IGL, but also the coach, because he can take a break and say, okay, in order to complement my coach, Handsome, what can I do to make me better? Of course, two heads are better than one, right?
Yeah, that's right. But when it comes to like Riza, of course, you put a lot of emphasis on Redco, but I think Riza as a coach is not being talked enough.
Wait,
sometimes.
Riza was a coach?
No. Sorry. As a IGL.
Yeah, he is in insane.
mistake.
Yeah.
So it's like the difference between, like, let's say maybe Riza is not as big brain as Red Co, but his call-outs in game has been phenomenal.
It has been phenomenal because it works out, right? How exactly everyone is built around him.
Because we have God vision, we see on the top, and when I see Kizuna's plan come together, I mean, like, man, Riza's call-outs is actually insane.
I think this also comes with Mark as a coach as well. I mean, you talk about Riza. So Mark is the one who sets everything up, tells them what to look out for, what they need to do better. And Riza as a team in making decisions have been pretty good. We don't see the biggest changes, but it's more about like trying to make sure that everyone does their job well. Now, if you look at how exactly Kizuna's comp has been working, it's all about enabling Shinsei. If Shinsei has an explosive match, you know that Riza is having a good day.
No, that's only if they actually get to respond, by the way, because Kizuna, let me tell you first, I want them to be in the finals.
I think everyone, okay, no disrespect to X10, is not because X10 is bad or anything, but rather everyone wants to see the underdog story. The story of the team who was at the bottom 3 of split 1, coming up here to the top 3 in split number 2. A team that has really risen from the ashes to the top. And I think that's the story that's really we're talking about. But at the same time, we have to talk about X10, about how Redco has been playing for a long time. They're the pioneers here for VALORANT here in Malaysia. Singapore, one of the big brains to come over to the top here. He hasn't made it here yet, and I think that it will also be really cool to see them in the grand finals. But what do you think?
I think simply saying that X10 has already solidified themselves to be one of the strongest teams in Southeast Asia already.
Right.
Period. So
Southeast Asia. That is a bold statement to make.
Exactly, because number one, X10 is a Thailand organization, and they forayed into the MYSG region. Whereas X10 themselves, when they were in Thailand, were already insane.
Oh yeah.
You gotta remember that. So now they gotta pick up some of our talents. They're gonna expand even further. Who else to, create better space for newer talent to grow up? None other better than Kizuna.
Actually, yeah, I feel like Kizuna is always so good to talk about when it comes to the newer rise. I think the story of a rising phoenix actually for Kizuna, even though they are foxes. But coming back, let's have a look at the map pool here, and it's gonna be for X10. And I think, we're just talking about X10's map pool in general. Like they have played every single map except for Fracture, and I don't blame them. Fracture is I would say it's a tricky map to navigate. It's small but big at the same time, and they didn't win it. So it's best for them to not play it. But at the same time, when you look at Bind, 100% win rate, they won Bind.
Oh yeah, especially when Bind recently just came back into the face, so they've been picking it. We didn't even have a lot of Icebox data for that. They played one, and before it was rotated out, and now it's back in here. So, I resonate with you when I said that I might be getting sick of Pearl and Ascent being played out a lot.
Real felt.
Reals, okay, guys, but it works. It
does.
really works. So Pearl seems to be, Accents as well as back there was Enigma's playground, but now you're dominating.
I feel like Pearl has been played by the big dogs. Honestly, you think about X10 running Pearl, Kizuna running Pearl, Bleed running Pearl, as well as Enigma. Those are 4 teams.
I think the reason why these maps could be picked a lot more is because there's a lot more lateral ground to shoot as well. There's not a lot of angle adjustments. You gotta use your crosshair.
Pearl is still B-Long Simulator. Let's be real here. Let's be real here. It's all about running that that harbor coming forward, a cascade. It's very, I would say, attacker sided for B side, which is why we're seeing a lot more executes onto B compared to A. Yeah,
one long way in, of course. The moment you smoke out halls as well as block out screens, you just make your way past the pillar. You pretty much have sight control most of the time. The space is so important.
And retakes are very tricky and difficult unless you successfully do a nice pincer on too long, which is completely hard because it's a very long area. So it's really hard to really be able to have one person do priorities. But so far, I think Kizuna has been doing a good job. I mean, Bryce is just so good at doing that. Speaking of that, I really wanted to talk about that match between Kizuna and X10. This is their round 2, by the way, guys. If you guys didn't know, last time they had it's not their first rodeo going together.
Just to remind you, it was actually my bad. Back in split 1, it was actually X10 and Kizuna.
Exactly.
X10 went 2-1.
Yeah, but recently was 2-0.
Recently was 2-0
in Kizuna's favor, and I think it was actually a statement play by Kizuna coming forward here that even though you beat us in split 1, this is what we can bring to the table in split 2. And I think it was a lot of conditioning coming forward here, especially from Kizuna. Bryce especially has been great at doing that. It's just flanking as much as he can, making his signature move. And at one point, you start to see X10 overthinking, thinking, where is Bryce coming? He's not there.
Exactly. So the whole point about this game is actually to make them overthink, because the level of conditioning you can make in a game like VALORANT takes your mental to a toll.
Yes.
You have only 1 minute and 30 seconds to execute your plans,
And you have to do
especially
it
in the large
again.
map. And you gotta do it again for the next 26 rounds if they're tired, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but let's have a look at Kizuna. Now, we can tell that their biggest map, I said before, I can already project that their first pick today is going to be Pearl, 100%. And their second one is 100% going to be a set. These are the two staples at this point. I mean, they didn't have like the most, I would say, best of games in terms of Lotus, Haven. I mean, they won Fracture, but I don't see them picking Fracture because I think Fracture is going to be banned by Extend.
That is true. I mean, it's not a lot of data here to be considered. It's only one game, right? And it doesn't say too much about it.
yes.
And it's not to say like X10 might play a bad Fracture game. It's just that we haven't really seen them on that, right?
No.
So training-wise, they might be there. For certain teams, like Split is kind of like the dark horse. Like it's either a make or break game for them. And
Yeah.
it's a map like, for example, Bleed Esports love to exploit compared to like other games. So since today is a best of 5, I won't even doubt if we might actually get a split in one of the top 5 maps.
Split map?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a split map chosen by Extend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just cause, right?
Yeah, X10's
train up against Bleed, why not
I
you?
think X10 split is the best so far because they did take that map away from Bleed. It was an 11-13 score the last time they went together. This is a very interesting thing to talk about. Now, we want to talk about Kizuna a little bit, about how they rely so much on their set play. They have a certain... I think that for Kizuna, they're like wheels in a cog. Like, say, a machine, they run perfectly so long as their execution works well. And then that execution, the one leading the charge, is going to be Shinsei. How exactly does the team give support to Shinsei is going to be, I think, something that we really, really have to talk about.
You know what's funny? I actually disagree. I think the team that works well as a cog is actually X10.
agree.
Whereas for Kizuna, while I agree that a good plan comes together for
Yeah.
them, but Shinsei has that capability to go above and beyond sometimes to either make or break that round.
I'm gonna have to agree with you because making it is him getting onto the side,
Yeah.
being able to get picks. Great, huge. That means it takes a lot of load off Kizuna's shoulders.
That's right.
But at the same time, I think that Shinsei can sometimes be a little bit too explosive. How many times have we seen Shinsei push out a little bit too much, go a little bit too aggressive? And I think that mental can also play, I would say, a detriment here onto Kizuna because sometimes you see these moments where you see Shinsei, I mean, they
he gets
have...
red over and over again
Yes,
sometimes.
because you see like 4 rounds in a row lost, and then you start seeing Shinsei think like, oh my god, I need to make something happen.
Yeah.
So he over pushes, overextends, and he dies so early. Now, the thing is, I understand that for a duelist is to be getting your team onto the site, but it would give an extra more of firepower or even defense for them on the post plant if they're able to survive. But let's have a look at the highlights here for the team throughout this entire tournament of Split 2 because I think that these two teams have been doing so great.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Oh, right. Apparently, we're supposed to talk over this.
Wait, you tell us what this
Yeah,
as
that we
well.
were told. So anyways, this is what I was talking about in terms of how exactly these players have played. Now, if you remember, one of the most interesting things about Enigma, I feel, is that they lost 13-0.
Yeah, that's right.
And-
I don't know how it happened.
I was
thinking
surprised.
like it went full 3 game. I understand. Maybe it's the mental toll, but 13-0 is not at all a score in sight.
No, I was not expecting it because I think there was a lot of expectation coming in from Enigma. But at the same time, I think it was also the idea that the team was just so much better in terms of their, stamina.
Stamina, you would say. I think they just moved into Split 2 playoffs with not a lot of ammo up their sleeves, I think, because it's like...
Oh no, I'm talking about the... There was a 13-0, right?
Yeah, 13-0.
So because of that, Enigma ran out of energy already.
Oh, you were saying
yes.
for that. So because the 13-0 was that, in the end, that is the one that propelled, was it X10?
Yeah,
up
Kizuna.
forward, right?
Kizuna,
sorry, Kizuna.
13-0. Enigma in Pearl. And this is, and you know what? The fact that it was 13-0 in Pearl is something to talk about.
A lot of
here.
people are talking about the Reina plays, how it didn't work out. So we don't really know how to break it down so far because I haven't actually watched that review. But that goes to show that if Enigma can lose one of their strongest maps, what is the kind of level of gameplay they can bring against, let's say, going to the grand finals?
Yeah, I think that what's also really important to talk about is that we have seen the Enigma played in VCT Pacific. It is something that has been done. And we also have seen that Reina play from Bleed. Remember, they do this double duelist comp coming forward. Now, coming into this, I mean, the fact is they weren't able to execute that particular play. And Kizuna, knowing the fact that they knew how to exploit that, took it in stride and put it in their pocket.
I think what's good that makes a team is first, like sometimes it's all about how you take the initiative, but a stronger team is able to take an energy from the opposing team and turn it in your favor.
You're talking about Tai Chi, right?
Yes, exactly. You already know, right? And the best part about that is that you don't exert your own energy, you're taking theirs.
Okay, punch me. Ooh.
Oh, guys, wireless because I never contact.
Halal gap. Halal gap.
But it is true, and it's a very, very real thing. Not a lot of people talk about energy transfers in a game like Valorant
I actually
itself.
never thought about that. Could you please elaborate on that?
So very simple. It's like how does a game of Valorant actually affects mental? First of all, it is energy, whether
Right.
psychological or it's physiological, because it affects you mentally and then it affects you mechanically, right? So how a team actually plays out to the end, especially plays like Paper Rex or Bleed and stuff, is because they don't let those losses get to them. They actually reconvene immediately. It's only when the second and the third round, when it doesn't work, they will maybe call that timeout. Right? So most important thing, sometimes when you see you're down 3 versus 5, you're down 2 versus 5, that kind of thing. Find out which area of control you have, what utilities you have left, and see if you can isolate certain kills before you move together. Because technically, when you're on 2 on 5, it's easier to communicate because it's just you and one person. It's not you versus the other 3. So the thing is, like, sometimes you can also capitalize on the enemy trying to overextend on you to disrespect your 5 versus 2. That's why you turn it around. And I feel like here, I've seen Kizuna actually do that a couple of times, so that I think they're very capable.
Let's talk about Bleed versus Kizuna. And I think that for Bleed, I think for a lot of these games, it's really important to highlight Bleed. I think for the comparison here, Bleed should be the benchmark that all these teams strive to achieve. Now, the reason why is not because I'm a big bias of Bleed or anything like that, but the fact is, Bleed is the team that has gone all the way to VCT APAC. Bleed came pretty close last year as VCT APAC LCQ. They went 3 maps, and I think that Bleed is one of those teams that has great stamina. If you remember, Bleed had amazing overtimes. Now, for Kizuna to come against Bleed, it's very difficult because when you want to talk about Kizuna, they run Pearl, and so does Bleed. So this is, I think, something that is really scary because Bleed is just so dominating on this map.
No, when you see Bleed, how they move, not even as a team, but individually, when the camera is on them, you know there was a plan in the first place. They are never phased, they're never in a spot that they seem lost. It's just that when when you're playing against the highest of standards in Southeast Asia itself, you can definitely study Bleed's VODs and see how they move together as a unit. But that's only on the surface.
That's very surface level because if you look, I mean, when you listen to Legia or watch his VOD reviews, you can really tell what really comes inside his mind when he actually does his play. And I think that, coming forward, we want to talk about which team moves forward to meet Bleed at Grand Finals. Because I remember that I talked to Legia the other day and I said, wow, you guys actually won against X10. And he said, Tash, how could you even doubt me? How could you even think that he would come close? Redco will never beat me in this, I would say, in his lifestyle, in his career. And I thought that is actually a call for a challenge, in my opinion. Because if Redco does come forward, I think he would love to take that challenge in big stride.
I think it's also one of the proper years to actually take up this level of confrontation, because I already said 2023 was the toughest year for VCT MYSG because the standards of players have gone up exponentially compared to like 2022.
I remember when I first came, a lot of people were saying that we weren't even close to international levels.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that coming forward, I think this actually propelled the players and the teams to do even better. And we start to see outside organizations start to really invest here in MYSG. And I think what's also really important is the fact that having Paper Rex up there, from a very tiny region up there, it would be great to have another one to go forward. And honestly, because I say that Bleed is the standard, I'm so sorry to say, but Bleed, because if they have that, I would say, that experience coming up, moving into competitive play, they might go further. But I would love to see X10 and Kizuna really challenge that, just challenge the boundaries. Out of 5, perhaps really shake Bleed to the core or even win.
Because this is a tier 1 competition after all, but trust me, even after the splits, we do have a lot of local tournaments that's happening as well, so we do hope to see all these players being involved in that, because after all, how can you work your way to tier 1 if you have not been in tier 2 or tier 3s enough to get this experience?
Hold up! They took out Split.
Oh, they know!
ASAP, and they knew exactly. They didn't want to deal with that. I understand, because the fact that they're able to take Split away from Bleed is already a statement, and I think it's good.
I think in this case right now, if it's not going to be played, And that means, you know, the usual Pearl, Lotus, Haven is going to come back into here now.
And I think that Lotus, X10 looks a lot better on that map.
Yeah, I had to agree with you. I won't see Kizuna playing a lot of Lotus themselves, I'd say, even though it's their top. Actually, I take that back. They've played enough, and their win rate is actually quite respectable. Funny enough, that X10's Lotus is actually on a lower win rate.
Oh, wait, so I was the other way around.
It was the other
Sorry
way around.
about that, guys.
No, but it's okay. Both teams, literally, if you remember, watch the maps, right?
Yeah.
The top three is literally Pearl, Haven, and Lotus.
This is
So
really
they're all playing
interesting
together.
because I was expecting a Haven ban coming from X10.
Okay.
But the fact is Kizuna, because they're not able to have access to Ascent, they immediately run for Haven, which is a ban from X10. Now, we already knew that Lotus was going to be played. It is something that we have seen before. Kizuna does do pretty well. But I think that what's great about X10 is the fact that if they are, I mean, coming back to 2-0, right?
Yeah.
What's really important to talk about is how exactly X10 would take that loss. And I have a feeling that Kizuna has been super microscoped as predicted. Whoa, I did not predict that.
Kizuna picking
all of
the
my predictions
fracture.
are all out the door, man. All out the door. What is happening
No,
today?
it's just tough because it's not a best of three, right?
I
It's not just
know.
picking 2 maps. It's 5 right now. And the sequence actually matters. Because imagine losing 2 maps or winning 2 maps in a row. It's going to snowball your morale, things like that. So picking a Haven first is going to be, it's definitely going to be a needle in a haystack here
Yeah.
to just decide what the momentum goes, because we haven't seen a lot of Haven first map picks. It will set the pace of the entire tournament.
Well, decider map is going to be Pearl. I think this is a good thing. If they do go to a Pearl,
Yeah.
and who wins Pearl, basically, I'm just telling you guys right now, who wins Pearl will bring the title of King of Pearl.
Oh, that's if we even head to map 5, by the way.
I think we will. I 100% think we will be hitting to
Really?
map number 5.
I think if I'm generous enough, I think it's going to be a 3-1.
Oh yeah, you told me that last night.
Yes.
You were already projecting in favor of?
Funny enough, in favor of X10, but if Kizuna wins, I think most likely it's 3-2. Anything different from this score is an upset.
Okay, so I know that we do have predictions up in the chat for you guys who are watching on Twitch. Please feel free to put this in. So now, the maps that we have here, Haven, Lotus, Fracture, Bind, and Pearl. I am very disappointed we're not seeing Split, honestly, because,
I agree.
because the reason why I really wanted to see Split was because of the very unique agent comp coming in from X10. And honestly, I was sort of expecting Kizuna to come out with a counter strat. But apparently, I guess since they banned that, that means the counter strat didn't happen.
Not just that, I think it's just easier to ban out compared to playing it with them. So maybe not a lot of VOD reviews on that side, and just rely on maps that are cookie cutters. It's just funny that, you know, cookie cutter is Pearl on the last map. Maybe they heard us, maybe they're ghosting us. So maybe we just take a break from Pearl first and start off hot with Haven. Fracture, that's the only one I will agree with you that since we haven't seen a lot of it, and I used to be a Fracture hater, and right now
I am still a Fracture hater.
I'm just glad to see it at the 3rd map. So that map is at least going to be played.
I think that in Split 1 was one of the most Fracture maps we have seen played.
Oh yeah, for
we
sure.
saw from Bleed, from Toda, and Bleed and Toda were the 2 teams that were constantly picking this map until Bleed decided, you know what, we're done with this map, we have moved on to Pearl.
Yeah.
And then they solidified Pearl and moved on to Lotus. So I think that is what we can expect in terms of pattern for Bleed. But coming forward here, I think that for a lot of teams, they really haven't, we didn't really see a lot of Pearl first picks until toward the second half of Split 2.
Yeah,
because
that's
it felt like a lot of teams really needed a lot of time to figure out how exactly to be playing this map. And I think Lotus is a very, I would say, balanced map in particular. It isn't really one side bias. It's very different to Haven, where it's a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit more attacker sided.
I agree, just because like Haven and Split shares the similarities. There's a lot of like close tight corners where people like Breach, Raze actually really shines on that, because getting space control is actually utmost priority in a map like that. So I want to see how these two wrestle control, especially in a map that's well played like Haven, well broken down, well stratted by a lot of analysts in the world. So it's just more like who can take the space, holds it first, and actually get a successful post plan.
I'm really curious to see how exactly we'll be navigating Bryce. Because for a map like Haven, 3 sites, there's so many different ways to enter. And if Bryce was able to breach the site from so many different areas, either it be from the CT side, either it be from links, either it be from garage or even, shorts, it will be really fun to see how exactly we go for those pincer plays. Because remember, Kizuna thrives when you have one, the win condition is having Shinsei successfully navigate onto the site and hold. Two, Bryce getting his timing so very well in terms of rotations and conditioning the enemy team. And that's exactly what I'm expecting for Kizuna. But what are you expecting from X10?
So X10 is just straight up, they love to take it on default first and then you move together as a unit. And that's the strength of like Thames and Vera. Because Vera is the forefront. You talk a lot about Shinsei, I want to talk about Vera. Vera's space control is on another level. Most of the time he lives much longer than Shinsei in my opinion.
He does, yeah, and because he's a little bit more disciplined.
Correct. And if he dies, the fact that like there's always like Thames, back then there was Neff, who is always on his back to recover where he lost. So the space was never ever lost to the enemy because they always had the backup ready.
Yeah, they run a 2-2-1 sort of strat coming forward,
right.
And that's usually how they play. And I think that is really good because you can always expect if one is playing long or rather for a long range, you can expect a short range sort of, I'd say swing. So there's always a trade potential coming through, but most of the time it's going to be, I mean, they're so good at their shots. It's rare that they're going to lose the aim jewels, but let's see how today is going to go.
Oh, straight up, man. You talk about conditioning, right? Well, if I'm going to be talking about X10, you got to worry about that ego is lurking up there. He's the fundamentalist.
Oh my God, yes. I don't know why we haven't spoken about him. We should have.
I know. I mean, you can say Bryce is doing the same thing. It's like a Bryce versus egoist kind of thing.
Yeah.
So let's just say all the actions up front, being, pay attention to your duelists, your initiators going, hey, but when you look at a minimap and you see just where your sentinels are, what they're going to do to draw attention away, I
like the fact that whenever they do this sort of like, what's the word? When they do this sort of like fights or other takes, you will always, lurks will be good as well. On attack, you could see that it will be Egoist or Bryce coming into the other end of the map. They're just going in for that one pick, leaving. And that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You want to dwindle down the numbers if possible. Number two, you're trying to scout out for information. I'm not too sure what happened here. Perhaps there was, perhaps we're going to be seeing a split instead. No, okay.
No, oh, you wish. You thought, man. You broke down so much yesterday, you thought.
I spent so much time. But it was really fun though, breaking that down. Because honestly, Split is one of my favorite maps ever.
No, it's also it's just fun because you keep getting distracted when you're doing your WOT review.
Oh yeah, that was that too. But I know, coming back here, let's have a look at the agent select. Now coming forward into today, defense side will be going X10 and attacking side will be Kizuna. So them playing, I mean, we already know what's going to be played. I think this is the usual standard comp that they usually play. I think that Redco is really good at the breach, even if he does type. Yeah, exactly. I think for this map in particular, it is a staple to have the breach because there's so many angles to clear. And on top of that, if there is a Killjoy lockdown coming through, you can just break it.
It doesn't actually work anymore with the Aftershock after the a patch where I think they buffed up either the HP of the device.
Yeah.
So while that doesn't work, allow me to re-explain why breach is actually super strong, especially with the Aftershock on the C-long plant near the platform. You can actually play for long, throw on an Aftershock when you hear someone defuse. It is not a default plant, but it's a very strong plant if a breach has that. So while we talk about this, usual mirrors that we see here, of course, the main difference would be the smoker. It's not as stale as Ascend because the execution is the same.
I just wanted to say that usually we'd see flaring on the Astra.
Yeah, but he's on the Omen today.
I know, it's different because usually we see Wayne on the Omen.
Actually, yeah, now that you mention it, that's actually right. I don't know. What's the reasoning here? I think mobility. It's a big map. After all, Flaring's taking that.
I mean, personally, I think that Flaring really does thrive on Astra. It is his main after all. But at the same time, I would love to see Flaring take a more aggressive approach, and I think Omen really enables that. On top of that, you do have one-ways with the Omen as well.
Yeah, that's true. I was already touching base on the one-way. Is there a lot of one-ways you could do mostly in like Haven? Nothing much like Garage, some
like
on A-long.
A execute, there's a one-way there.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
But I 100% agree on your enabling part for himself. Let's say if his team is down, how can he turn the tides himself using using a flash, using the TPs? That's going to be insane.
But ladies and gentlemen, this is map number 1 of the best of 5 of the lower bracket finals. And this is the time to look at the screen because we want to see who will be the team to take the number 2 spot and be going to the grand finals tomorrow.
The number 2 spot. Well, honestly, having the top 3 title under your belt is an achievement on its own.
To take the number 2 spot to go to the grand finals.
But right now, because it's top 3, right? We only have the top 3 left. And no matter who wins or loses here, it's a testament to the other locals here. But of course, only one can proceed to meet the kings. And here we're going to find out who today.
execute straight onto the site. It's gonna be really fast. Wayne already just clearing up the nade, but unfortunately does get spotted out by Shinsei. Egoist does trade back, finds him, and now Redco so very low, swings out, goes down, and Riza will be able to answer back. Rotations a little bit slow here by X10, not able to quickly sync up with the team. They do pick one up, a nice little pick by Vera, unable to answer back as Bryce attempts on the other side. A good crossfire to take the first pistol round.
You gotta remember that was a 3 versus 2 retake, all right? Kizuna had the man advantage there, but they moved in together so well. They actually forced Kimi to stop planting and let it peek out. It was just unfortunate that Vera was actually holding up a Sheriff, so he missed a couple of shots as the last person out there at Garage. I don't remember who he was. And by the time, you know, when it was all over, I think it was Thames on behind, made him on the platform and finishing out with a goal. So good retake start from X10. While you argue that, hey, Haven might be attacker favorite, but trust me, X10 as a unit, you gotta look out.
This time around, a little bit more of a slow pace, understandable, because Kizuna does not have the weapons. But we have seen situations, I mean, we've seen Aspas do it, we've seen Fnatic do it. Raw aim is what you want to have to achieve when it comes to these pistol plays. But silence, cut, and you can start to see them just slowly making their way onto Seaside.
This is just conditioning as well. Wow, what a shot there. And Redco already takes out a very important member. That's Shinsei gone. So who else can you left for the attacking in? Only 2 initiators, not even the best weaponry. You know, the fact that they can even get on site for a plant will be, you know, a feat on its own. So much Killjoy util being placed out there on garage area as well. So you know Egoist has that covered.
Here's the angle by Temps. Beautifully done. Just stopping their hit as Riza gets one shot but will be traded out. Already projected. And I think for Kizuna, their plan was to get at least 2 to 3 guns out of the way coming into their bonus.
I don't think that was a plan that actually came much because they only lost 1 for X10 side. So this is where the real games begin, right? If Kizuna takes it an easy 2-2 against X10 with these rifles, that means they will have economy advantage going up against X10 here. And also thus propelling their aggression even more to push X10 back in the corner. Because right now I can say X10 has the best weaponry for close quarter combat. They got good utils, and we have Thames already edging closer and closer to his Hunter's Fury as well.
I want to see where the spike is, but look at how aggressive Kimi is. He played so aggressive and was actually rewarded for it. Flaring still holding in. He has still that space, but it's really hard. Swaps out for the weapon, does get tagged, but Temps using the shock dart to make a little bit of space for himself.
What I like about that earlier was that he just used a double shock dart lineup. He still has his recon. And so that means if Kizuna pushes in, they can have a sudden recon now and actually take this retake. Now they already spot on Flaring. Get it 1 tap. Redco gets 2 for himself, but it is still traded evenly. Now we've got 2 on 2 now left here. They are still on A main though. Guess who's lurking?
It's always going to be Egoist. Still, with 1 shot to the head. Great reaction time coming forward.
Can't use that yet.
Little upgrade as well, and using his turret to make up some space. Riza still on C long. Sorry, yeah, C long. Sorry, BA long. But he doesn't know that he was actually in short. Little banter never hurt anyone. And with X10 winning this, it's gonna just propel them forward.
Is that what you're saying? Riza didn't see that, so basically what happened there in short was in short. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my TED Talk. We are here, X10 now 3-0, taking the gun round away from Kizuna and getting free upgrades for themselves. Let's talk about an exponential upgrade, which is the operator on Vera on defense. That man doesn't even need to push out. Just need to hold.
Yeah, and on defense as well. This works so well in his favor. He's placed himself over an A short sewers. And with Kizuna running a single stinger as well as 4 sheriffs, I want to see those head taps come through. Win this round. It really will help them not in terms of just their economy, but also for their morale.
I like how there is this lurk still by Bryce. He's up there trying to cause commotion into Garage himself, but the rest of his attacking team is still up there on A, in which Rivera finally gets the pick. Tailwind also going to be used. Obviously, that 1 pick is good enough. He's got reposition. Everyone is still full health.
Redco holding, they already knew it was going to be an A hit with the sprays, but it doesn't matter because he's only able to get 1 with the Odin. But with Redco multi-fragging, this is huge, and Bryce not able to cook.
Ever sharp in himself, Redco has been actually putting numbers that are winning them the round. how many times you see Redco getting these 2 frags before actually going down in the end. So it just sort of like the impact. One thing about Kizuna, I feel like Shinsei is trying to get this space, like you were talking about him trying to get locations while his team trying to back him up, but most of the time, I think X10 is just very disciplined to not fall into that trap. They will give Kizuna whatever space they need, but the most important space is on site, and they are never letting that up against Kizuna.
Technical pause here, so very early. And when you think about it, I think for X10 it's been just so huge. I mean, coming in from that first round take, right? You were already projected to think that because it was a 3 versus 2, they would win that gun round. But in this situation, they weren't expecting how aggressive X10 would be in terms of the push out with Thames as well as Vera. They were winning not only their aim duels, but were playing the crossfire so very well. Where if say that Vera were to go down, a swing out by his teammate was able to just really take them down from the other side.
Actually, I disagree for at least this part. You know why? Crossfire is not happening much, but the trades are extremely fast right now. I think the fact that Kizuna is actually getting good kills on X10, but the thing is they're not expecting where the next X10 person is coming out from. So I would say that that's just good trades for now, and Kizuna should know this now. X10 hasn't really even been pushing out past their main defaults just yet, but then they're actually getting taken out. So it means that Kizuna needs to bait.
Nice slow hit onto B, but Vera will be disabling that. Finds Riza first. That's the information gatherer out of the way. Shinsei pushes out. At least will answer back, and Redco finds Shinsei in the end. Now, Redco still holding the backside. Finds one more. This time round, it's be Bryce that stops him in his feet. But Egoist plays off the recon from his teammate. It works so very well, and Bryce, it's a game of trades here from these two teams. A 2 versus 2. Coming in this round 5.
It has to go to Kizuna here. They have fought so valiantly here, and it does look in favor for Kizuna. Now they know Flaring is up there on B window. Gonna retrieve the spike here. He is gonna be joined by Bryce, of course. I mean, the last scene of Thames was at A. They can take their time to plant here, but it's such a precarious situation. You're open to so many angles on B, but yet they don't know where Thames has moved now.
Thames with this Odin, it's going to be so hard. He has to be able to not only really figure out, but the free fires are going to be very important. He comes through, he doesn't know where he is. Such
so
timing. Was rushing in.
Guess who's the MVP of that round? Turret.
Oh yeah.
Yep, Turret spotted him coming up at C-Long. They immediately move towards A-Link together and then get a double peek in. So at that point, his position was just absolutely compromised. Nothing much that you guys could do. But they have got the ults now to try to turn this around if they could. The bleeding was stemmed, but for how long?
It was Kizuna's first round as well, and I think it was exactly what they needed. Now looking at the ultimates, both teams with 3. Bryce just needs one more, maybe an orb, maybe a pick. They have 4. Actually, look at that. They're almost at full here. Shinsei pops the blades, comes out forward. I'm not sure if he actually spotted out Vera quite yet. He runs through. Vera able to take up space, but Shinsei quickly eliminates Vera. You hear the Hunter's Fury come through. Just really clear out those areas. Vera was still able to find Shinsei in the end of the day. A good pre-fire because he already knew where Shinsei was going to drop. Regardless, from hell, Flaring comes through.
That was a TP by Flaring up there on Heaven. He actually got the kill. It was extremely good for Kizuna, but still, it's still fast trade. That was a big play by Flaring, but X10 responded just as well. Wayne, takes that point, remembers only can be Price left, and they knew where he was considering where the lockdown happened. And Spike's on site, he is not getting close to that.
Final member still around. Bryce has no way to get onto site. He can go for a save if he wants to, but he is okay in terms of creds. It doesn't really matter, honestly, but he's still gonna try, at least perhaps eliminate the gun. But he already hears the sound of turret, at least from one end. He can kind of anticipate where it's gonna be, and Wayne watching A long as well as short.
He saw the plan, actually. There was an idea. I mean, the utils was actually used up. Actually, that wasn't Bryce's ult. It's actually Egoist. So that's the reason why Bryce was forced back into a main lobby earlier on. Now, Kizuna themselves again. Actually, I thought that was a tactical timeout. I think it was a technical pause.
Earlier was a tactical pause. Technical pause.
Technical, yeah.
Yes.
So what do you think? I mean, so far, I think like X10's the picture is coming together better, considering they just need to hold angles anyway. Just wait for Shinsei since they know their plan.
I think for X10, playing defense works well in their favor because they understand where exactly to hold. You don't see the quickest of rotations, but because they already knew how exactly to play 2, 2, and 1 on B,
Yeah, that's right.
means that they don't really have to worry too much. On B is all about just staying alive until your teammates rotate over. And of course, retakes on B is a lot easier. But for A and C, having 2 players on, like remember the first round just now, even though they had like what 2 members already eliminated and 3 as 1 more come in from B, they know that in terms of the numbers game or retakes, they're very, very aware because they have a buddy system going on and everyone seems to understand the dynamic coming through here.
I think what Kizuna can try to do is to actually thin out X10 as much as possible
Exactly.
first. They really have to thin out because the moment they execute the site, at least 3 or 4 X10 is there ready to receive.
They're very quick.
Yeah, and in this case, so, I don't know, take garage control, hold it there for a bit, throw someone else to mid, and, go back to A lobby. You have to split X10 up and hope for good picks. You cannot bomb rush a site, especially when all 5 of X10 is still alive at that point. Because you know they will trade more effectively considering they're on defense first.
This time around, I'm not too sure what I talked about, but it's definitely a slower pace coming forward.
They're actually going to do what I'm saying. Take garage control, hold it for a bit, then let them cook.
Attempts with the Aldro, spots out. Not sure he spots out the other one in the backside, but immediately just gonna spray through. Thankfully, no one tagged with that Odin. But immediately the pop of the nade just to really clear him out of sight. Ego is holding close, but immediately Redco spots out someone on the top side of B. Probably have heard that drop. Egoist does take out the turret at the very least, and Temp's gonna be finding one, but Shinsei pushes out through the smokes, gets 2, nasty push, and they were not expecting that at all. Regardless, Wayne coming through from the smokes, Rolling Thunder disables him from taking out more space, but Vera with the Guardian pops 2 heads already, a reposition. He's so very low. He can go for one more. It's a good trade, honestly, when you think about it. But with these smokes, it's gonna be so very hard. The nade comes out, but he'll be tanking it. They get it in the end. Broson's fake. And eventually, Wayne does go down, but Egoist finds him in the end.
Comes out in the 1 versus 1 situation. They have the man advantages for sure. But of course, I think the lineup took a little while to arrive. So unfortunate, they were put in this situation where Shinsei, once again, was forced to take command of space. He gotten 2 kills first before going down. But it's not enough, I feel, for him.
Regardless, coming into this round, Kizuna, I think this is really important. I really want to talk to you about this. What do you think was the adjustment by Kizuna during that time
What an
out?
adjustment. So
Yeah.
no, the thing is right here, they don't exactly have the right amount of utils going in to take control of the sites first. Like for example, like Shinsei, literally, he is moving out for himself. It's all good, all right? But the thing is, he had to overextend a little bit, and that was successful. But the thing is that his team couldn't hold the pulse man. Sorry, let's not talk so much about the previous round because here right now, because, they're just holding in, and they're trying to rush in, of course. Temps, all he needs to do, bumps up into his face with Bryce. Like, at this point, it's just massive disrespect.
How do you do that with Odin? He jumped out, sprayed out from Haven, jumps down, and was still able to get another with the Odin?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to tell this to you. Please bear with me on this.
Okay.
What's an Odin? Odin's a god. And he jumped down from heaven.
Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to tell you right now that Kizuna has a lot of work up their alley. And so the Touch Bunny because she's had to tolerate me. But all I'm just saying here is that it's only the first map out of like 5 potential. And if we can reach all 5, then we're all good.
I really want to highlight that this is Kizuna's map pick.
Yeah.
Regardless, coming through, that's a huge opening pick by Vera. And he's been playing in short for so many times and unpunished every single time.
How are you dashing out here? Recoming. Bye,
Are
boy.
you kidding me?
I don't know. This is disrespect. Like I'm saying, they don't care where Kizuna is. They're just in their face here. Vera is already pushed out. Is he attacking right now? Sir?
Vera! He took up so much space from sewers. Pushes out, got 2. Gets 3, in fact, with the dash forward. But I think he wants to go for more. He already has a 4. Can he go for a 5? He aces! Vera!
Guys.
Shorty!
When the hunters becomes the hunters like this. We first started off with 2 beautiful op shots in the sewers itself, where of course they're on eco, that's fine. But he pushes out, and not just that, He switches out to a Stinger, getting an insane kill onto Kimmy just like this. And Shinsei stood no chance for that one. He's leg flaring too.
That's a shorty and then a switch.
Yeah.
And Temps was all he had to do was just whittle him down, but he didn't take him down. He was giving him space with an ace. But you really gotta give it. That is confidence speaking over there. The fact he was able to take up space all the way from short and to main.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. So definitely X10
He's doing it again!
Oh, he missed the second one, but it would have been a beautiful clip if that is again repositioned straight away up to heaven.
Here.
But the damage is done. He's already spotted at least 2 members up on A. That is information for X10. They just need to now move accordingly. And the best part, they can still leave Garage and Silong, up to Egoist to hold it himself. Vera has done so much for his team here.
You want to say that this is the Vera show, honestly. That really caught me off guard. I was not expecting X10 to go that aggressive because we talk about aggression.
Usually that's more Kizuna.
Exactly.
I'd say.
Exactly.
I agree.
So coming in here today, the change in pace is definitely something that I'm very excited to see. But look at this execute coming forward. Bryce rushes forward, beautifully done, finds Wayne. Already, he had been expecting that someone would be playing close.
Beautiful shot there, Redco being taken out. That was quite a crucial kill. You know that Kizuna hasn't been on the man advantage for a while now. Just unfortunate Bryce is there, just doing the lurk stuff. Ego is ready. So guess who's the ultimate lurker? Killjoy.
I like how he did drop a name there.
I know, right?
Regardless.
I don't get cancelled so early, I'm just saying.
Vera, unfortunately, his shot missing means that they have control of the site for now. Riza with the shock dart just going to clear that out. But you saw a trade of another shock dart from X10 as well. Flaring his teammate from Hell. Let's get spotted out, but they don't know where Flaring is. Crossfire if need to be.
Whatever they do, they got a plan.
Beautifully done. Swing out. Flaring gets one more. They know where the other player is. Cleared out by Riza. And now it's down to Vera. Can he actually make this work? A 1v3 coming through here. And just like that, he goes down.
I think all Flaring needs to do just start to step, right? Wait for his teammate to come in. They don't need. They got each other's back just like this, but the only issue is if they can replicate what they've played for at least the next 5 rounds to get their mental up, because they do have their game plan, but the only issue is only if X10 has written down their numbers. This is absolutely hilarious. Both Killjoys just waiting there.
Battle of the ultimate lurker. And now X10 calls a timeout.
You know what's the hilarious thing? They can actually just cancel each other out because the lurker just needs to take care of a lurker.
Yeah, for real. But it matters on who lurks who first. So there's also that at the same time. But we really want to talk about this. I think it's about that information as well. When we talk about how Egoist and Bryce meet, they saw what? They saw each other at C, right?
Yeah, that's
so
right.
immediately the information has been relayed that if Bryce said C, clearly the other members of Kizuna would be on the other side. So that's exactly how we see X10 playing with this information. Now, X10, with this timeout, I think that it's not really about them losing too many in a row, but rather you don't want to give an inch at all to Kizuna. Now, I was talking to Ben yesterday, the guy behind the scenes, and how exactly X10 uses their timeouts is not really about more tactical, it's about taking away momentum, it's about cooling off the team and making sure that everyone is in the right mental state.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on momentum spike part, especially when...
Kizuna is very momentum heavy.
Exactly. You need to give it to them because right now, the momentum is definitely on the adverse levels. It's on X10, they are on a roll. The only issue is Kizuna needs time to actually wind up, considering that this is, after all, Kizuna's own map pick. They gotta show up, and this is good now. Pushing the issue, they have to clear out the Killjoy utils. You know that there's almost never anyone gonna be playing in Garage, so why not just take quick control of that? Hold it maybe, toss a couple into B main, like I said, while have one person just wait out for an A lurk. In this case, there was Vera there, but now he's not lurking out.
They took their time. They even hear the op. They understood that Vera has been a big problem to them, but they didn't realize that Wayne would have pushed forward. But immediately, Egoist and Wayne was taken out of the way. But with Redco, one more, only good for one. Spike down, but it's down to Temps for now because his teammate's not close at all, but Temps able to get 2. Whittled down to just a 1v1. And now, we have Vera. We know that he has an op. The only thing he has to work with is that op, is the shorty. He can't swap up his weapons because if he's able to go for that pickup, they go for the plant. He's just hoping that someone will cross his peripheral. But we know that Riza, Just jiggle peeking, coming forward. Does he know that Vera is there? Just silence the pre-fire to come through. Both of them whiffing, but Vera whittled down to 5 HP. One more time, one shot is all he needs. But Riza was just a little bit smarter with how he approaches this.
I told you, if Riza's last man standing, usually he does have the ability to kind of, not get enough information to know where he is
call
at.
him the clutch
and
master?
also get the clutch, yeah. The thing is that I was worried at one point, like Thames, because he got that double kill. It wasn't a Colette, but it's just 2 bullets in a random spray, got 2 hits.
Yeah.
So, another round going to Kizuna. They take what they can get. After all, approaching the last round, the first half already here. 8-4 could be a good thing for Kizuna, but let me tell you first, a best of 5 is the ultimate mental game, and we've just started.
Archer's Fury started off by Temps. Gets a tag, gets a pick! On top of that, and Ego is going aggressive, not able to go for 2.
They didn't expect Shinsei
Yeah,
to be
they
the
were
second one
expecting
picking.
2 people there.
Oh, insane now when X10's push out on A, so there is space for them now. They're going up with gun. Good up jump, spot up flaring as Tate wins the one that's actually going to be on his side. But of course, Bryce turns out catches one. Wait, so right now it's going to be a trio on 2. And so many Kizuna members so low. Literally, who is attacking? Who is defending?
This is so very aggressive, and Vera already projecting. And knowing that there's going to be 2 there. It's just so quick on that.
Oh man, this is not even about just being aware. It's about being like, how to take it out.
9-3.
Hold up. Let them
Cook.
exactly.
And now it's defense. Because we know that that defense side is where Bryce truly shines.
Yeah, I know, I agree. And this is a time for Shinsei to take a back seat after all the work he's done in the attacking round. So he can sit back and maybe just hold angles for a while. Let him refresh himself before proactively pushing out to take angles again. Like, he loves his A lobby. He loves his garage play sometimes too. So, a good cooldown period needed for Kizuna themselves after a hectic round on the first half.
But I think it's really important to talk about this. I don't know why, but I think this round number 1 was really the fire starter for X10 because it was just such a I would say a statement maker. But especially when you win a 2 versus 3, it really launches your mental in a okay, this is good, it's working so well for us. We have the guns next round, and after that you win that loss bonus that Kizuna was having with the rifles as well. And we didn't see Kizuna really try to answer until I think round number 5.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't call Kizuna slow cookers or something. I'm not sure, but it is also
They are usually, yeah.
fairly early in the day for a lot of gamers. After all, it's only like close to 1 p.m., 12 p.m. when these guys started. So, of course, 1 ace in the pocket now for Vera. They got to feel pretty good about that. So if you bounce between like X10 and Kizuna, you know that both these teams are. They love their momentum for sure. Of course, leading the reins will be X10. Honestly, 6-point deficit is not too bad for Kizuna when you think about it. And this is a fresh perspective for them. Now we just want to see how X10 can either keep up this momentum or pass it over to Kizuna.
I think what's really important for Kizuna right now is the ability to chain these rounds. And why it's important is because when you chain rounds, not only are you going to be having better utility, better guns, because you have a lot of the economy on your side, but also mentally you're going to feel good. Again, I just want to say that it's a game of conditioning, it's a game of mental. And if you're able to really unseat X10 from their, I would say, the pedestal mental right now, it will be going great for Kizuna. And Kizuna has always been known as this slow cooker team. They don't really take the heat or do a lot better until map number 2, number 3. And sometimes when you see these maps, right, you would see Kizuna losing their map pick and winning the opposite map pick.
I'm just thinking of the word they're slow cookers. After all, Bryce is in there. He's got to upgrade himself to a pressure cooker, man.
Bryce?
Yeah, he's the chef, right?
Yeah.
There was a funny saying once, like sometimes you bench your best player, where he's the one that usually cooks. It's like, he wants to cook, but you left your best chef in the kitchen. The kind of thing. Whereas in this case now, all right, if Bryce is the one that's defending here, I want to see how he plays with Egoist. Now the round is commencing. Vera starts up opening. This is so contrasting different from Shinsei. He always pushes out A long, he gets nothing, but here, Vera pushes in and they've got sight.
Because they were a little bit too aggressive and they were punished for it. This is exactly what X10 was banking on.
Yeah.
That aggression from Shinsei. We talked about that, right? How we expect these aggressive plays to come from Kizuna.
The thing about an aggression sometimes is not really on the duelist side, but the discipline coming up from X10. Sure, you got an aggression, sure, but we don't need to hold up for you. Just like in this case, we don't need to push out. through CT or anything. Just really to hold down side. All these smokes hindering his vision. And Tam's got his crosshair just in case his breach wants to peek out. And so they will. Vera runs out of bullets. Instantly Raycon comes in for the kill. 4 members left alive. This is huge now. You don't give those kills to Kizuna means they don't have creds.
And you want to be able to win these rounds. Look, already 4 spies here. Redco buying that Vandal. You already have Temps on the Guardian.
Yeah.
And now what Extend wants to do is quickly just solidify these wins because they're so close, just 3 rounds away. But at the same time, if Kizuna is able to get away with this, take these guns out. Oh, no Vandal.
Yeah, no Vandal.
Yeah, so I think that's why they changed their mind because they would rather play safe.
Blocking sight.
They have to know that X10 is going to be on another rush, even without the scan. The footsteps give it away, and then to pull all the rotations from Kizuna back here. Of course, now we know Marshall up at short too. Doesn't catch anyone, but Vera's already made his way into back there. Makes it a hot massacre onto A side itself. Eco frags for sure, but not in this dominating fashion. You just let Vera pop in like this?
It's the fact that that smoke was there to allow him to push all the way to backside. Everyone's eyes onto A Long, regardless now flaring all alone. Can he actually steal some guns? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't actually.
Oh my gosh.
Because Vera was ready to trade out. They pushed out together, watching 2 different angles on Link.
You know, that was a close range Sheriff shot when he had a Spectre. I respect that, Vera. Never change.
I have my iPad on my face and I'm so very stressed right now by all these puns. It's a little bit too early, but look at this spray from Vera. And just that one cloud burst there. That one cloud burst he put there. And the thing is, because they were just so distracted, they couldn't even catch him pushing through.
One good ability, instead of letting people analyze your plays, is to first catch them off guard. And that's exactly what X10 is pretty good at this.
They're going fast.
They are fast. And not just that, they already took down Bryce, who was the sole holder of Seaside. So this is now free. Not how Kizuna wanted this round to start. And mind you, if Kizuna loses this, it is match point for X10.
Look at how slowly Kizuna is just trying to wait and play with each other. This smoke is not doing them any favors. There is a tiny little gap there, but it's more for X10's favor. So they understand where exactly to go, get some information. With Shinsei coming in from Garage, a Rolling Thunder just really stop him, but Shinsei is just undeterred. Takes up that space, but Vera and Wayne get one more. But Kimmy, with those multi-frags, might just bring us to a next round. Regardless, Kimmy is all alone. He goes for the concuss, goes for the tap. There are 2 members of X10 still left alive, and he was thinking it's gonna be for long. But look at where the other member of them are. They're all the way in 2 different areas. It's really hard to really pinpoint where they're coming from. Another defuse to come through, 1 pick, and just like that, X10 seals the deal and take map 1.
X10 has absolutely got Kizuna on this leash. As you can see how they played with Kimmy earlier.
Yeah.
That was just nasty. You know that no matter what situation the X10 is being placed in, they do have the ultimate control in the end. And Kizuna never once had free reign of this match. They were always on the receiving end, always on the responding side. They could not get any initiatives done. This is just the dominating fashion of X10 that I've already expected to see out of them. And they're absolutely delivering.
It was really a good round. And honestly, it's just so surprising how we go next.
Yeah, that's right.
They bring us to the next one. In this situation, I think that they already projected Shinsei playing aggressive, and this time they play a little bit back.
I agree. Okay, flaring. Down to you, my man. Gotta assist now Bryce, knowing that he dropped the previous round, and you know X10 can repeat the strat. But once again, these smokes are absolutely allowing X10 to go in. Bryce comes out instantly traded here with flaring now to receive. 4-on-3, 4-on-2 now. It takes that. Kizuna somehow staying alive here with only Ego is left standing. And you know, his Ego is actually having a war with Ritza up there on mid.
It's really important to talk about how Kizuna is taking this, but
they stay alive.
Understanding how exactly this map is being played. And I think that sometimes in these situations for Kizuna, trying to be able to chain these rounds is what we're talking about, and they've been doing very well at this. They're understanding how exactly the dynamics of X10 goes, and by putting Shinsei in the front line, they know that, okay, they'll give up that space if Shinsei doesn't go down, and we pincer them on the other side.
The thing about when pushing out like this is that X10 never pushes alone. So therefore, if they receive Shinsei, they at least will get a trade. That's the most important part about X10. But the thing is now Kizuna, the moment they just need to get 1 frag, reposition and reset, and try to get another one, that could be their recipe for success here. But I'm not sure how they're going to deal with this now, considering they're mounting pressure of like 8 rounds before they can even equalize.
Aldrone clear out main. They were already projecting that he's going to be in short. So by putting this Cloudburst here, gives him a little bit more space to cross. But Shinsei with the sprays doesn't even opt to do a fancy style pick. Regardless, both Cloudbursts use and clears out Sewers with that shock dart.
But he's done the damage, and the best part, he's almost unscathed. Just got one receiving bullet from his Vandal, that's it. But they should know there's enough members of X10 up there, considering the commotions he's made. So Kizuna can safely assume that this is full A and just leave Bryce himself at C.
Spike down A.
Doing a lot of damage this round. Egoist does stop him in the end of the day, but 2 HP left. What can you do with Temps? Does find one. Riza sprays out, clears out the house. He knows exactly where Riza's going to be. And now they chain these rounds to exactly what we talked about in terms of how Kizuna needed to take this. And X10, we've seen situations where X10 was able to just get up a very dominating lead, and then they get stopped in their tracks. I would love to see a pause here by X10 to say, like, I think we need to cool down. I think we really need to figure out how exactly to stop these aggressive plays, or really to figure out how exactly to counter-strat how we are getting out-stratted in this defense. Because in this situation, these 2 rounds in a row for Kizuna might just be something that can go up to 6, 7, 8.
That is true. The issue is like, you know that because X10 doesn't build, all right? They don't build on what is lost. They build on what has been working and try to improve it. So that's Kizuna. X10, if something doesn't work, they want to change it completely. So right now, they're trying to find a formula that works, which we might be able to see in this last round here. I don't know, man. They got him 1 round. They got him some rifles now. It might work.
Flaring playing on platform, immediately finds 2 spots, and now doesn't need to take, because Shinsei was on the other side. What a clean round defense. They were just playing so aggressively early. So this time around, they put Shinsei on B. This reposition is catching X10 off guard, because for so many rounds, Shinsei was playing on A long or either Sewers. And because Ego is peaked B, immediately he was deleted.
Yeah, conditioning as it is. But you got to remember, they were also on an eco. So clearly, maybe they just want to take some risks to take better spaces first. Honestly, I never agree taking B long, especially coming out from window, when you know there could be an AWPer there by default. So maybe they'll switch it up. Now Shinsei is back on his default. That's the A long. He's pushing out alone too, in fact. If X10 just defaults a little bit and push and kills him, he's gone.
That our drone will make him give up that space. No, they haven't spotted him out. Shots
so
coming through. No one pushes forward. Already anticipating at least a person holding here.
The footstep.
And they don't push up.
He gave his position away, actually. He launched a footstep there. So that's why you see the star coming in. Just to help Shinsei escape just in case. But nope, he's still good. Super quiet now. X10 definitely switching up. Not really pushing out, but they're still all playing together. Take some garage control, I'd say. Now Shinsei is definitely poised up their lobby. If suddenly they deviate back to A, they will be in for a surprise. So X10 gotta be careful.
Nate taunts him out immediately. Swing out with the concuss. Beautifully done. Get to 2. He's playing aim labs, but doesn't happen. Wayne stops him in his track. Wayne coming through here. I love the change in pace coming through here from X10. Not too sure what they decide to change, but look at what Temps has done. Finds flaring, no more smokes. Temps finds 1 more. Temps has been so good with his multi-frags with 3. Egoist goes down, but Temps is there at least for the trade. Goes all the way to the backside for that plant, understanding that there is at least going to be an up. Cloudburst to give him a little bit of space to move. Shinsei, where are you going to go? Nice cross coming forward as Temps takes that 4. Map 1 in the hands of X10.
Quad right now for Temps, and what a way to end out this first round. Going to drop a couple to Kizuna, but it's all good. The point disparity way too high. How can you end 9-3 and what? I think they at one point actually were a 12-3, you know? So, Kizuna couldn't get a read onto X10 whatsoever. Not on attack, not on defense. They were always playing on the back end. I never once saw that X10 had a lead in pretty much, strategic control of the game.
I think what's really important to talk about is just the fact that Kizuna wasn't able to get a single execute on attack side. And I think we were really wanting to see Bryce cook on defense.
Yeah.
There were moments that Bryce did cook, but I think that in defense side where they were able to change so many rounds in a row, I gotta give it to Shinsei. It's just Shinsei activated. Shinsei finally waking up. And with Shinsei able to take up not only so much space, but also playing, also to be able to play from window and reposition himself with not only the up, but also aggressive angles, and with his team also covering him, it caused a lot of damage to X10. And it took a lot of time for X10 to really figure out how to take that round back and finally seal the game.
I mean, like, we haven't talked enough about Kimi as well, but I haven't seen a lot of like flash and like fault line enabling coming up for Kizuna. You know, we haven't talked enough about that. So having Breach as one of the highest impact agent by far in Haven, didn't see that coming out from Kizuna. Whereas for X10 though, the enabling, Red Code isn't really the main one up front most of the time because like I say, he's IGLing. Most of the work is done actually by Wayne, Temps and Vera if you think about it. So it's just Kizuna trying to push into X10, just find themselves in the face. They're unable to trade out effectively. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and on top of that, you really gotta give it to Vera as well. The fact that he's not afraid to push out. How aggressively he has been playing and how exactly he pushes out. I think that we did see this emulated by Shinsei, but the fact is, when you are the writer of your playbook, how dare you take my page of the playbook and do it back onto me? And I think for a lot of the time here, X10 on defense, X10 on defense has just been doing so well because they understood how to disable them, play aggressive, take up the front line, and suddenly because Shinsei has been disabled, not able to get onto site, it makes it 10 times harder for them to break the defense that is X10.
Yeah, the momentum itself actually built on the rise of this aggression from X10 that we commonly see more in Enigma Gaming. I feel like X10 actually just manifested that and takes it over onto Kizuna now, bringing it to an insane score of 6-13, a commanding start, knowing that this is actually Kizuna's own map pick that they lost. So X10 is going to go in it with a huge advantage.
I think that X10, I mean, if we look at stats before, X10 does do pretty well on this map. I mean, if we look at Red Code playing on Louvre as well, Haven was one of the maps that he picked in the last season.
Yeah,
now, coming through here, MVPs for both teams are going to be just Shinsei and Vera. I think Shinsei shined better on defense side, but Vera as well. At the same time, it wasn't really more of a Vera, I would say a Vera type take, because I think for a lot of time, X10 was on attack. It was more of that, I would say, a default. How many picks they can take here over on A main. If, say, we didn't get the pick onto A main, are we going to be rotating or are we still going to force the issue, take a pick and decide whether or not we want to go onto site?
At that, I feel like most of the rounds, the most important part was actually the first like 10 seconds of the game. Where did Kizuna decide to show themselves, and what they do with that information afterwards could have made or break that round. And I feel like X10, like I said, they read Kizuna like a book in the early rounds. They know that Shinsei is usually going to be one to push out first, and they know Shinsei is a crackhead aimer. So what they do, they just play back. They play default. They dropped like 4 rounds to X10, where X10 never even really pushed out their base in the first place.
It's really interesting how aggressively at first Kizuna played, and I think that play aggressively really, I would say, rewards them. Because when you saw Kizuna play aggressive, taking so many rounds in a row on defense, you start to see X10 shake. But at the same time, X10 has always been a team, as I said before. They do take a while to really figure out the Rubik's Cube. But at the same time, they understood, like, okay, in these 3 rounds, what happened? So, and then I think it was also coming back, like, I mean, if you saw or heard the comms that I would say Redco posts sometimes on his Twitter, it's always about, like, calm down, guys, we got this. They're doing the same thing. I think we just play a little bit back because he's here. And I think Redco has done a pretty good job at keeping the team's morale high, because sometimes when you're stuck on a round for too long, you know you're so very close. Again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to make sure that your mental is in check. And sometimes that's how chokes happen. And I think that X10 nearly choked that because there was like, 4 rounds in a row given away. And I was really starting to get very concerned.
It's all good. That just also means to show that at least Kizuna can put up the fight with X10, but the window closes as the map progresses. With 1 map now already in, so honestly, if you're gonna give it to Kizuna, it has to be a 3-1, 3-2 now. But the next map coming in, you already know it is going to be Lotus. So Haven in the pockets of X10 right now. Let's see how Kizuna retaliates in the next map right after this break.
Wagwan, I'm Redco and I'm from X10 Esports. A little bit of myself is that I play flex for my team, meaning I play all the flash initiators. We have good vibes in the team. Most of our personalities are like clowns, and most of us just laugh almost every single round during scrims. So as you all know, I was the IGL in Louvre, and now I'm the IGL in X10. Our recent IGL got benched, and I was told that I became the IGL of X10 by Thames and Vera. I'm actually excited for this opportunity because I get to bring a whole new dynamic to the team, and I could combine my playstyle with theirs, which will make it a lot more interesting for you guys to see. So everyone knows X10 as the Masters winner, and us representing them will mean that there's a lot of pressure built on us. And that's one thing that I'm excited about, to actually show the world what we can do. So a little funny story about X10 is that I used to trash talk them in the previous segment. I said that they'll lose to us the 11th time, but I actually lost to them. And to prevent the 12th time from losing to them, I kind of joined them. You know what they say, if you can't beat them, join them? That's me. As an IGL myself, I don't have expectations for the team because I feel like having expectations would mean that you put a lot of stress on yourself. I just want my team to do their best and actually do what we practice in scrims. That's good enough for me. Kizuna, you guys think taking 2 players from Alvia will help you guys win something? Don't forget Bryce, that I know your every move. I know how you cook. Shinsei, I know how you entry. I'll be in your heads when you guys are playing against us. Good luck with that, man.
Hi, I'm Wayne and I play the controller role for X10 Esports. Fun fact about Redco is that I used to play for his team for one LAN tournament and I played the worst series of my life, dropping single digits on both maps, and after that I got dropped from his team. So now, being given the second chance to play for X10 Esports alongside with Redco, I hope to not disappoint him again. Fun fact about Egoist is that I used to watch him play professionally during the early stages of the VALORANT Pro scene, and now being given the chance to play with him on X10 feels like a dream come true. I would like to be remembered for being the Marco of the MYSG region, a controller whom my team can rely on to win their gunfights.
Hi, my name is Javier. My IGN is Egoist and I play the Sentinel role for X10 Esports. I feel that Rain is a very good duelist player from the few times I've met him in ranked, and I think that him transitioning from the duelist role to the smoker role, he'll be as good as DRX Marco. I would describe the team as a bunch of noobs because they always leave me alone at the other side on defense, and on attack they will also always leave me alone and they will only tell me to join them when they need me, and thus I feel very lonely.
Hi, I'm Vera from X10 and I play the duelist role.
One fun fact about Thames is that he's the noisiest in the team and always says random stuff. However, he's also the one that enlightens us when in every scrim and tournaments we play, when the mood is down. In a critical moment, I shut off my brain and focus fully on aiming.
Hi, my name is Thames and I'm playing the initiator role for X10 Esports. When Vera turns on autopilots, either he dies or everybody else dies. I would say the most scared team would be Kizuna because they have the Gordon Ramsay of Singapore, Bryce.
They're going to try to line up. And Scary repositions one instantly. 1, 2, 3.
We'll see how they
I think a ranked game right now. And we're working on Star Out, potentially even an ace.
into the cosmic divide. Deny visible.
Oh, kill. They already breached up onto A.
Spray. Is there gonna be more? Goes for real. That's more. Is it?
Flaring pops up, gets a hit, gets one more. Flaring with 3. Kizuna may have picked Haven, but the winner for that map that comes victorious is X10. Tash Money here alongside Xeno Viper. We're your casters today for the VCT MYSG Split 2 lower bracket finals. And the winner today goes up to the grand finals to meet up with Bleed, whether or not they'll be able to take away the kings of MYSG.
Not just take away the king, let's just dethrone them, because we do want the kings to stay, but putting up a challenge is the second question. When we talk about the challenge here though, I really felt that X10 just went into that without a challenge. I need to see how Kizuna retaliates now because this is their time. Knowing that they have already lost their own map against X10. Lotus, by the way, X10's pretty much their playground as well. Kizuna also did fairly well on Lotus. It's just it's one of the fairly newer maps. Not a lot of strats has been leaked out so far. We could always project a Gecko also could be picked here, but I'm seeing this like double controller meta usually coming out, and maybe one of these teams can even exploit that, knowing that, hey, we are starting off the 2 maps today with 3 sites.
Actually, that's fun. That's really fun. Now that you mentioned it, I did not notice that at first. But I think in a way that Kizuna has been slow cookers, I think this map would really suit Kizuna's playstyle. Remember, to play aggressive on this map is really good. Because if you were to push out aggressive early from B or even A, it will just cause a choke, especially for the flanks at the same time. You want to be able to stop the enemy or the attackers at route A if possible. Regardless, coming forward here, let's see how the agent select is going to go. What are you expecting?
Don't think both of these teams are double controller playstylers, if there's a word for that. So
playstylers.
Naturally, it will be about space control, especially on Mount side, especially on A route as well. So the space here is more important than Haven, because Haven has a lot of these corners you can at least hide for now, but then in a map like Lotus, there's a lot of open spaces. So it's operators' playgrounds, but when you get to tight corners, especially like B or the little doors area, then suddenly you could be afraid of judges being there. Odin playground could happen here as well. So a lot of things can happen. I just say just because Lotus is a very dynamic map.
Mirror matchup.
It's been a while since we also see a full mirror on Lotus, like you said. Full mirror.
I think that because the map is just so diverse in terms of how you want to approach the playstyle or gameplay, it makes it so it's such a fun map to try so many different compositions. I mean, if you were to watch the VCT Pacific EMENA, you'll see like every single team has their own style of signature on how exactly they played this. But I think for Lotus now, I mean, from the beginning of the season, we didn't see a lot of people picking it because they haven't still figured out how exactly to play it. But again, as I said before, teams who learn it the quickest will be the one to reap the advantages of being able to command on that site. Now, if you look at both teams here, I think for Enigma, I think for Kizuna, the last time they played this map
was 13-10
exactly,
to X10.
13-10 to X10. Yeah. And I think that it's really cool to think about that, because like 13-10 is definitely, I would say, a statement, because coming forward here, I mean, it wasn't really like the same sort of a mirror. Like before this, Egoist was running the Cypher. Yeah, but now both teams are running the Killjoy instead.
I think it will complement their picks here. I think because sometimes they, if I were to see here, Viper, Breach was also picked at one point by Reiko.
Yeah, it's very different. So it's a very different thing.
They definitely switched up something for sure. Now since Reiko is the one that's actually playing... wait, it is a double controller.
Yep. So this is interesting, right? I mean, like, if we were to do the homework, I mean, when we were looking at the stats, right? I mean, we did say last night, X10 is very diverse.
Yeah.
X10 is very different on how exactly they approach each map. And when you think, oh, Lotus, this is going to be their lineup, we've seen how they play, suddenly they pull up this comp.
You know what? I'm all up for it, especially if we've not seen it. So this is the first iteration on this map today we are seeing for the first time. I am so excited to see how these two teams out. So, not a B push, they're just waiting for the lurk again. That's Bryce up there trying to cause commotion. But the main interest is up on C. The attention, the little dog's up. Boss out Ego is here. Of course, the smoke might dissipate soon. Look at the space they're actually controlling, but they are not going to commit. They just hope to draw attention from X10 to C. But if you know anything about X10, they're disciplined. They're still split up.
They just want to take this time to figure out how exactly to approach this map, because you have no clue what to expect around number 1. But look at how much space already has been taken by X10 onto A. They push up to A route. Now, with the information given, they can immediately go for a choke if they want to push up from B or C.
Oh, timing.
Immediately, Shinsei opens up with one pick, but Wayne does trade back. Kimi at least gets one more. A 2-for-1 trade at the very least, but they're so very low. Fluttering attempts will be trading shots. Both go down eventually. Nice smoke orb.
30 seconds
just
left.
to prevent entry from stairs, and now the rotates come through as we're down to a 3 versus 2.
I love this playstyle actually from Kizuna. This was actually more disciplined. I see them on Haven there. They played out the timer, make sure they got the kills first. They attempt the fake up on C. It didn't pull X10, but that's fine. They went up on A now, which actually cost up X10. Where were they? They got time, like you said, but they will get this plant on time at least.
They decided to just pivot onto B, and that's the beauty of having B side open for you. Because you're able, if you're not able to really commit onto A, you want to be able to go into B. As Egoist does eventually find Kimmy, this is huge. Because now there's only one more person to worry about. You have to clear this angle. It's a very tight corner. But where is Flair looking? He's looking straight at where Egoist is.
Yeah, he can't push in though, Egoist, because Flaring is holding the side here, but it's fine. The right clicks reign supreme, but it's still Bryce that tries to hold it down in the end, but no. Throughout their valiant efforts, still goes to extend no matter what.
This is a really good trade. If you take it, it's been trade on trade, right? When you look at X10 on the defense, they push up. They knew already that there was a presence on A, and immediately they push out onto root. They were trying to fight them and try to enable the teammates to choke them either from pushing out from C or even B. Now, since everyone had rotated off C and B, the open door allowed Kizuna to push into B. Now, this is also another problem in itself because retakes are going to be a problem because you don't want to go that choke there onto B link. That's the biggest problem. And that's where exactly I was a bit worried for X10, but Egoist made it work.
Mind you, Kizuna had the man advantage as well. They turned that into a win again from X10, being on the disadvantage side. There you go, the opening stop here. Pushing on B, it's fast, it's in. And Shinsei is forced to relocate instantly. Rush out in there, finds the Vera, but still loses. Wait, what? Wayne's the one that got the kill?
He just sprayed out with the flash, and Wayne holding out the area. He gave up the space, still goes down, but it's already 3 in his pocket. The damage has been done as Temps rushing to the side here, only a classic in hand. But the spray is a little bit too much from Kizuna. 10 bullets in the barrel, but he does get an upgrade. No switches back, preferring the Spectre, and I don't blame him. These corners give a lot of value to that particular gun.
This is not worth it for X10 at all. Looking at how now Egoist is going to move in, the quick flick of the wrist. Takes out now Flaring, the wall drops, and they know it's actually pumped up for main. Kimmy making a statement, the Yuki aim not coming up here. Close again, Egoist is the one that's going to win X10 another round.
They win X10 another round, but look at how many guns they took away from X10, and this was exactly what's needed coming into this next round.
All right. I see where you're going on with this. Definitely a closer one compared to Haven. Again, considering that I remember like the second round, they left X10 alive with like, what, 4 members or something. So this is like a big difference.
Exactly. Because just now it was more of a statement, more aggression. But this time around, Kizuna knows exactly. Like, it works out so well for them because the way Shinsei plays, the way Kimmy plays, the way Bryce can play, this aggression coming through and the Angels they win, it's just been so nasty. Kimmy's headshots, ouch.
You know, fun fact, we don't have headshot percentages anymore at the end of the round. But we'll see that. So, just as we mentioned on that, and Vera starts the hot with one, the flick not good enough, the close range stingers will reign supreme. But of course, B, fast take, fast in, but of course, holding is actually extra hard as well.
Yeah, because you have to believe the area is so small, you don't want to get sprayed. But look at how they're holding this. All angles covered with crossfires and a buddy system to come through. They hear the door breaking, they don't exactly want close. So, with the gun they have, the Spectre, they're holding down the door. If anyone will spray out, they're going to go down.
Camera, observer. That was a beautiful kill onto Flaring. Wanted how the headshot worked. Ego is just straight up in front. Lands up one. He actually got 2 just like this. And once again, please don't tell me it's going to be Egoist last man standing.
Yes, he does! He gets 3! It's not Egoist last man standing, but it's Egoist getting most of the team.
He's the fundamentalist, like I said.
Exactly, coming into this game, you want to talk about his aim. His headshots have been so nasty, and all he's just been using is just the Guardian. Either the Guardian, and just now he got picks with the Classic.
We didn't talk about, I think, the first 2 rounds where Egoist actually landed, like, 2 shots, classic kills, and all that kind of things. Like, he is actually the classic master like
this.
He's
8-0 right now.
And he has lockdown since the last round.
Exactly.
He had lockdown in round 2, guys. What the?
Yeah, now he's upgraded to the Vandal. With Vera on the op here, I think hold for C is going to be extremely nasty because that mount will give him a lot of space to work with.
That's right. There's a pre-firing happening for attempts to come out in order to let Wayne get positioning. But nope. No one's actually up there en route. He's just going to push out now as CLC. Even the blinding light comes out. Wayne got in control. He can even hold it if he wants.
Cover going out.
Because there has been the running ammo for Kizuna to fake C and push A.
Shot from Vera. Unfortunately, they know exactly where he is now. Vera swapped out. They do have their ultimates out. It's going to be the Seekers as well as the lockdown. Look at how much space that lockdown takes in terms of space. And now Kizuna has to just wait and respect this ultimate.
I agree. Fun fact, Lotus is actually a really small map.
It really is.
So
It's just big rotations.
that's correct. And it's also extra big rotation to come out to B again if they want. And it has been working out, you know. It's always like Kizuna. Yeah, Kizuna always had to make their way into B, but they just couldn't hold it. Now they say third time's the charm. Like you said, they always try to improve on what didn't work earlier. Right now the plan will go down once again. And Ego is this the first time. You have to take him out, man. But no, you see the Kizuna can't absolutely do it at all.
Already those picks coming through. It's only one man standing. They know exactly where Kimi is. Paranoia out. Spots him out. Just a little jiggle. And Wayne gets him in the end. Beautifully done. Let's talk about that because just now we saw how Vera's playing here onto C, that mount. And then he rotated away because he had to give away space onto C. But what we've noticed Kizuna doing is they try to commit onto C, they try to commit onto A, and then the pivot comes and they go to B. But the problem with B is that retakes are a lot easier. And you can see how exactly Extend plays it. Sometimes it's from the flank, sometimes it's from either waterfall or just CT, or even from the A link itself. I think the biggest problem for the whole right now for Kizuna is people rushing in from the B door.
I know, it was actually super tough when they made space for Wayne to push out all the way to Rubble, and there's so much space control under them. At the moment that Kizuna executes on the B, they really got the flank instantly. The positioning where they were in was absolutely going to compromise them if they wanted to take and hold B just like this. You can't run rush the site no more. Of course, attacking is going to be so tough for Kizuna. They have tried B, they have tried C, but X10 still holds supreme.
Egoist making his presence known onto B. It just deters them, at least Kizuna, from pushing out. Now they have full control of door, of Rubble. And this time it's a change because X10 is usually the team that were to rush out, that were to go for that choke. Now clearing the door here immediately, he finds Wayne. And this is huge because he had used the sound cues of the door, but Redco is there for the final person to take care of the site. Nice push out from Kimi. Redco for 3 already, 16 HP, no problem. I can still shoot. Headshot not happening this time around because Bryce finally finds him in the end. Egoist and Riza still gonna be near the site. They did spot out each other for a little while, just waiting for his teammate Vera to come and play at the same time. He's coming in from the heaven, and I think that what's really good is the fact that if they were to push in from Rubble and from Rope, this could be a whole different story.
But the lockdown is the one that's going to do work. They have to push them for this, and they are moving together as a unit.
Oh, but the spray!
They hold down, man. They are holding angles. They stood no chance for that. Well played by Kizuna on that, knowing that they have to be rushing them for this lockdown. And that was a clutch Bryce if I ever seen one.
They were just holding, number one, they were holding on. Number two, they were protecting that lockdown. So they played really close together. I was concerned that they were just going to get sprayed together. But the idea is, because X10 was also playing close, it was a matter of who got that first contact.
That's right.
And it was Kizuna.
You know the X10 is going to push together, right? Because they want trades at least.
But it's a little bit too close,
But ultimately, who wins round? People who are naturally holding angles will get the advantage. So that was just one that Kizuna exploited and took the round from X10. So this is reminiscent of Haven as well. They gave 4 rounds to X10, finally takes 1. But now we want to see if Kizuna can at least take 2 more rounds or even more, rather than X10 rolling forward.
Slow start coming here from Kizuna once again. Understanding and getting information gives them a lot of value. And this time around, look at, they have Mr. Turret, Timmy the Turret up on site. They know there's one here. They know at least it's going to be the Egoist, but it wasn't Egoist. It was Redco hiding over at Ben. Vera with the up, finally landing the shot. Is worked so very well, and flaring is so very low. And spray out, but reposition with his teleport. Kimi finds Egoist even before he could move. Kimi wants to take up more space, pushing forward, trying to get onto the site. And this time around, Temps will be the one to deny them with the Trailblazer.
Are you not seeing the movements from Flaring earlier? He baited out shots for Kimi to actually get those kills. And he himself netted 2 kills away from his team when they were down 3-5 to begin with. So even though the numbers are down, the issue is the entire commotion has simmered, right? So everything's a reset. The Guiding Light will at least spot out, at least they are still on C-Long, and they are going to fight the timer. B sort of still open, but the alarm bot's not going to be triggered. They can actually opt B if they want to. But guess who's on the flank? It's Wayne.
One enemy
Yeah, and
remaining.
Wayne has been so
Spike
good
down,
at this.
C.
Usually you would expect Egoist, but Ego is down. They were expecting it to be Wayne. With 12 seconds to go, they need to go onto the site. The spike has been dropped, and Vera's angle does not give any chance for Flaring to even make a play. And I was just talking about this last night, about how Flaring was always the clutch master, the final defense for the team. But because X10 was able to survive till the end with still 2 at the very least alive, it makes it so hard for Kizuna to make things happen.
I think like X10's understanding of the map is just absolutely vital here. Like to know how to play, especially when you see how much commotion is happening on one side, you know where to like split your powers and split your utilities accordingly. Because this is one of those maps where like information is more key than any other maps. You know, maybe they share the same info like split and fracture, I'd say, but oh man, when it comes down to the aim duels, it really started from the first 2 rounds when Egoist just knocked it off the park. Yeah, Kizuna took their guns away, but so what? They're just on the reset, right?
Yeah.
If they're on the reset on even grounds, but the scoreline is definitely heading towards X10 favor. This is exactly the repeat of Haven that we don't want to see.
Because X10 is a team that thrives on rounds chained and chained and chained. And if you give X10 the advantage in terms of economy, in terms of space, that is the problem that Kizuna is facing right now. They have to figure out, number 1, take away the momentum. Number 2, to disallow so much space to be taken by X10. Because sometimes you think that Kizuna has already entered a site. They go for the commit. But how many times were they forced away? Either by the Trailblazer, either by Egoist nades, either by Wayne's paranoia. It's just so complicated. Redco as well. His snake bites makes it so hard.
I just want to tell you, the only entrance point for that is actually going to be Trailblazer, in which where now both teams are contesting a control of rubble. It will go to Kizuna's favor for now, just because the wall as well from Redco is going to hold them just for a bit. But the Toxin's about to explore. They managed to push in, sure. Can they hold it? And what can they do with this information now?
Oh man, Shinsei immediately finding Vera. That swing caught Vera off guard, even though he was holding. Regardless, for Tree, Temps is still holding on the line. And here comes the Seekers. Snake bite to buy some time. With Temps over the underside, it catches them off guard because all eyes were on Redco, on Haven. And now here comes the Viper's Pit. And how exactly are they going to be doing this? Because Kizuna again pivoting into B. And the Viper's Pit is strongest on the site among the rest.
Oh, they don't need to head out from the
they're
Viper's
side by
Pit. Ego is Sins out. It doesn't matter because he gets the kill in the end first. Of course, Viper's Pit goated ultimate. But with the coordination of X10, they just might make this work. They're going to thin it out, going together as a unit, and the spray finds Riza. Now the numbers are just looking absolutely horrible for Kizuna here.
Are you kidding me? They won up against that Viper's Pit. Now that Viper's Pit is strong on B, but again, the site is very small. So what X10 has been doing, instead of fishing inside of there, was just completely spraying.
Because the issue right now is that no one inside the Viper's Pit is watching each other's backs.
Exactly.
Right? Because you don't know where they're coming on from the outside.
You have to protect the Viper. That's exactly the game you want to play in that Viper's Pit.
Yep. I think it's just unfortunate the Viper's Pit doesn't actually close out to the edge of the wall inside of B. So the moment one person dies in there, it just throws Kizuna into a panic mode, even though they had a man advantage first.
I think one of the biggest disadvantages of the Viper's Pit on B is the fact that you can't pivot in and out. Because there's 3 different entrances that allow access inside of the pit itself. Regardless, Vera goes down, and Riza was very quick to find him in the beginning. Now Wayne playing close to the wall, this is good, because if someone were to push out, all he can do is just spray. And look at the amount of green we're seeing here. You can't see anything. As soon as the wall goes down, there is another smoke coming out here from Wayne.
Stay green, guys. You have to understand that the control up there is definitely so important that neither team wants to give up onto it. But Kizuna understand the assignment. It's not about the space being taken, but it's about the space they take a site, first of all. In which now, C is heavily locked down by Ego. It's just like this. And they realize that he's there. Look, Kizuna immediately backs off. They look like they have no game plan.
Now Kizuna, even though they got a pick onto Vera, they have no clue where to go. And this is the power that comes in from Redco as well as Wayne. Poison goes down, another smoke comes down. All that Kizuna has to do is just wait for Wayne's smoke to run out. And now they have full access to 3 and door. They also have a sort of one-way coming through here. Wayne, first contact onto flaring. They don't have access through main at the very least, but Temps still holding a very nasty angle over at boxes. He still knows there's more than one over at tree, and because he's jiggle peeking, he hears the door open one more time. All he has to worry about is to figure out if they're still inside there, and no information was relayed. Kimmy finds Wayne. Wayne didn't reposition, and the swing out from Temps is doing so very well. He gets 3 already. One more, rushing forward. A 4 versus 3. He just wants to go for the plant money. That's all he can do.
Guys, another 4K for Temps just like this again. Fighting the timer is one thing, but knowing that you're going to lose the aim duels against X10 is just going to be demoralizing. Guys, there's nothing Kizuna can do to flush X10 out from where they are. Considering how large this map is, you don't have the likes of Sova, you don't have the likes of Fade, you only have a Sky that only has a Trailblazer to really flush people out. Even the Guiding Light doesn't even do much, and that is why I think the defense of X10 holds strong here, especially when the main part of contest is usually C long and A long. It's so tough. Like, Kizuna needs to capitalize something on B. They have to be confident in either splitting X10 or getting frags before going into site. It's one or the other. There is no in between.
I noticed that they're more about committing to a site instead of just going default, get a pick, and then figure out the next move. Sometimes you don't have to have everything set in motion before the game itself. This timeout from X10, I'm guessing, is more to just really cool off at this point, because they weren't really in a deficit. I think that a lot of the rounds has been perfectly executed.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, you want to talk about Kizuna here is that every time they try to commit onto an A, it always ends up a pivot onto B, and it's read so very well by X10 because of the access, because they have maybe Wayne watching near Rubble and B, and then you have someone playing on A itself, on Haven, which means a fast rotation to B.
I feel like what I think that Kizuna fails to try is that once they take control of like either Mount or Root, is to actually just hold it there and let X10 overthink. You know what I'm saying?
They cut the noise.
Exactly. You want to condition X10. But the thing is, X10 is the master of conditioners themselves. So, yeah, guys, never shower without conditioners, because let me tell you, it is game-changing. It starts here.
Spike down.
It's huge for Vera already for 2. A trade back at least for 3. So it's a 2 versus 2 in the end. It's a very aggressive push onto A, and it was what we wanted to see Kizuna do. But I think X10 had already anticipated this to happen. Regardless for Egoist and Redco, they're still holding on toward CT side, because they're trying to figure out whether it's going to be a pivot to B or it's going to be A. But slowly they make their way onto the site itself.
It's been a while since I've actually seen them perform and execute on A. Just because, like, that is...
This is... Oh, they kind of pretended to be executing onto A, baiting out the ult is just huge for them, because it allows them a little bit more space in terms of playing for that post plant. They have a lot of time to play, and they understand this.
B is honestly the fastest, and knowing it's a 2 versus 2, actually holding B is significantly easier, I think. So why not just try that?
They want to go for C, because they don't want to allow for that fast rotates from X10. I think this is okay, but they're taking way too much time.
It's way too long. Timer. The worst part is Egoist is still alive, so the Alarmo bot will give away the location.
Exactly, and he's so
Alarmo bot.
Alarmo bot, nice name. That's what I'm going to be calling it from now on. Oh, he wasn't close enough, so it doesn't find him. Eventually does go down. One more does pop, but it's not enough because they're already on the site itself. Bryce will be holding this time around. It's going to be close. And with this smoke at the very least, it's not a smoke that gives them advantage space, but it does whittle down in the end. And now a teleport just to go for the reposition.
Oh, he spotted him. That's fine. Now this is a miracle round for Kizuna first. He actually spot out Egoist first with that info play. But now it's all about, can they see if they can get a good cross first, because Bryce is first left alone when he does have one more molly.
One more smoke to come through. He does push out a little bit. Flaring still holding down the line.
Push it.
Now, where exactly is his teammate? Oh, he knows where exactly he is. The shorty play not happening. A crossfire to come through. They know where Redco is. Redco can't do much. And that will be another round for Kizuna, even though it was X10's tactical pause.
Yeah, I know, man. They take time to simmer up, but like, we'll take this and reconvene for a bit. Even though they lost so many members up there onto the Rubble side, but we talked about the rotation taking too long. They were like 35 seconds left. But Bryce, he was out of range. So if he was in range with the Alarmo bot, they could have rotated earlier. Like, an early 7 or 8 seconds might actually make the whole difference of that round. And the smoke, because flaring was still alive, oh man, dark cover does so much work to stop them from coming in.
That's the beauty of keeping your controller alive all the way till the end. Again, aggressive push out from X10. And this round, they do not challenge. They give up that space and said, okay, if 3 people are pushing from A, the idea is there's probably only 1 on C or 1 on B. And now, look at where Shinsei has positioned himself, all the way towards C. They're trying to see if anyone were to peek toward Ben, but that's not happening.
That's why I say when the map is small, because the defenders can literally throw long-range utils anywhere and stop attackers from coming in. That's the power of the A doors right there. So the thing is now, okay, they reset. Now all of Kizuna is together again. Now what? We got like Shinsei holding down. He has the operator at least. So that's some sign of life. He can get a pick or two. But they've hurt the operator, so they know they're not going to challenge this.
It's all about the weight. That's exactly what Vera is doing. He's going to be using at least this rubble for cover. Not committing quite yet. And beautifully done. The sprays come up. Vera for 2 and Temps for 1 more. Too many resources used just to find Vera when 1 more person, which is Temps, is going to be swinging from the other side. A nice one-way, but no one will be pushing forward. And here comes the Viper wall at the same time. Kimi trying to go for that spike. Vera goes down, beautifully done. Kimi has to worry about 2 people, only good for 1.
Spike down.
Damage is done. Taking down 4, it's okay. Now 3 members are going to reconvene onto Shinsei. It's his show now. Nothing to stop him. No team to back up or anything. But he's going to rush out straight into the crosshair of Egoist, who will hold on the rest of his clip. 8-2 is the name of the game. 2 more rounds to the first half is done. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's really looking like a repeat of Haven. You know, guess what? Any map with 3 sides is going to have this scoreline. Because they have Kizuna in the palm of their hands most of the time. But when I keep saying that Kizuna is always on the receiving end, it was a miracle that they got that C plan and a good clutch at that. But X10 will gladly take, 9 out of 10 rounds of the first half if they could.
Let's talk a little bit about the enabling of Shinsei here. You want Shinsei to be able to take up space. But the fact is, it's so rough when you know, they can't even enable him because of how aggressively X10 is playing.
They good. Shinsei, space taken. That's all his job he needs to do. He pushed out a little more, however, because the Trailblazer finds him. It's fine. Through the smoke. That's nasty. Shinsei gone, but his job is done. Now it's the rest of the team to pick up the pieces.
He wants to go a little bit more aggressive to take up more space and get some picks, and Kimi pushes out. A trade out at the very least. A blind to come through, but they already read him like a record. But X10, you have Wayne waiting on the other side. Now he has to check his corners. The better gun will always win. And that's exactly what they brought to the table. And now X10 widens the gap in terms of score.
I'm just going to tell you, with those kills coming out from Wayne, you can see the hopes from Kizuna.
Last round in the half.
Coming forward, you really want to see how this is played. So you have Temps pushing out here, spraying through the smoke. They already anticipated a push out by Shinsei. And then you have 1 person pushing in and win from the other side. This buddy system works so well for X10. And this is the one thing that I didn't see change here from X10 throughout the entire split.
The thing is that when you see Kizuna was actually pushing out the on upper, right there, it's just like, hey, you actually didn't really need to hold there. Just 1 extra angle. When Wayne already got 2, that was like the downfall of that round. They had the execute. It was absolutely correct. They could honestly just default correctly at this point. You know that X10 is going to come in coordinated,
exactly.
Right?
I would love to see them play on site itself.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't have to push out, honestly. And this is I think a lot of time, this was the question we had about Kizuna, right? Did they really have to take up that much space?
At this point, we need to talk about space.
Oh my god, that call-out from Vera was just so good! Damage has been done even though Temps has been taken out by flaring.
Okay, I mean, trade's a trade. We take what we can. It's not a 5-on-3 at least. This is absolutely still salvageable.
Welcome to my world.
I like this. Viper's Pit to at least consider a movement in. But Vera's up close. Flaring finds the first pump. It's a shorty fest up in here, and Ritza will fire it down. Making a 3-on-2, they turn the tides around.
Oh, with that Odin as well. They were a little bit too over-eager to take up that space and deny the Viper's Pit, and suddenly everything starts falling apart for X10. A jump peak. They know exactly where Redco is. Redco, can you win a 1v3 is the question. He gets 1, but not 2, because Riza was already pre-firing with that Odin.
Curse. The games today are
Switching
cursed,
sides.
guys. What are we seeing here today? 9-3 on Haven, 9-3 on Lotus again. A repeat, a deja vu. I don't want to be the guy who says it, but X10, it's like the story is carved out for them. The ideas are working out. Cool as a cucumber. You can see the pressure mounting alongside these players here. And of course, only one team gets to move on into the grand finals. Oh man. You feel it here for Kizuna, man. They really playing their hearts out. Only issue is that when X10 gets the read and change up their plays, that's why Kizuna can't really build on what they had earlier already.
It's really hard to figure out what exactly X10 will be doing. But the thing is, I want to talk about X10's repositioning or a change in pace. It didn't really happen. X10 was doing the same thing over and over again. They understood that what they want to do here is have control onto Mount, either by Vera using an op. And then you have control by Temps or even Wayne pushing out toward a tree. The only thing that changed here is just which player will be where. And that's what's making it so hard for the execute. And sometimes you think that Kizuna would have an extra advantage with those ultimates, but it seems like X10 knows. They're like, okay, this person has the ultimate, how exactly are we gonna be doing that counterplay? And I think X10 has been really good with out-stratting and counterplaying the set plays they expect Kizuna to have to execute onto the site.
Just moving on, there are also a little bit of luck involved in this, where Egoist's movement as well as Vera's collats, they do come into play. But how many rounds can you really luck out against your opponent? So clearly X10 is not playing this by luck. They do have the skill to execute what it takes. Kizuna, honestly, could just pray for a little luck here. Mother Mary needs to get some blessings.
Yeah, the bear was the ritual.
They are worshipping that.
I mean, no.
Oh my god, yeah, we talked about it, right?
Yeah.
A ritual?
Yeah, the
ritual,
the prayer. Regardless, coming into this game, I really gotta give it to Egoist. Him, not only flank, but on B itself, disables Kizuna from taking up so much space. I mean, we talked about how split was done by X10. The no sentinel, the idea which is taking up space and not allowing them to do that. And I think even with Egoist not playing an agent, playing the sentinel, not only just holds one side, but also with Redco as well as Wayne, their tandem with the smokes has just been making it so hard for them to do anything. But look at this push out from Shinsei. The smokes come out, the flash as well, and Wayne goes for 2. And they punish Kizuna for playing aggressive because look how quickly they had put out the utilities.
Not just that, you have to understand the flashes as well came in just in time. If Thames' flash was 1 millisecond a little later, Kizuna would have actually gotten that kill because Shinsei was ready for the frag.
The timing was just so good. They understood how Shinsei played. And now with Thames holding on the side itself, Vera just runs forward. It's all about just finding Bryce. Can he at least get one pick for that extra creds is the question. Yes, they do. A flawless round for X10. And now 10-3.
You know, if I'm saying that I give this game to X10, I say it's a 3-1, right?
Yeah.
We're manifesting, but if Kizuna wins this, it is going to be a 3-2. There's no other way to say this right now. Just because looking at the performance of how Kizuna started against X10, they should have their warm-up done by now. But understandably, in hindsight, this is X10's own map pick, so we expect them to be dominating here.
Yeah. I mean, on top of that, I think the thing is for X10, I would say that they are definitely a team to microscope on their opponents. And I think the biggest loss, the 2-0 loss against Kizuna, had really made had really given them a lot of insight on how exactly Kizuna works.
Yeah, that's right. No, I agree. You know, sometimes by finding the way how one player works, you can exploit them and collapse onto him, which is exactly what it is. Rita got absolutely collapsed upon when now the A side is actually given, and Vera is not stopping. Just as I said, he's disciplined. He will not push up past his smoke, but he is ready and the space is his to command.
It's so beautiful how Vera plays those takes. He knows when to go aggressive and when to stop, and Vera, surprise, takes up that space, swaps his gun. 3 already in the pocket, and now he's going for more. His teammate is there, at least to go for the cover, and now it's all about finding Bryce as the final man one more time. He wasn't there at CT, so now where is he gonna be? He's gonna be over at main. So they're gonna be pushing out here. They're not gonna leave any man standing. Bryce can just go for an extra gun takeaway. Not happening. This is the second flawless in a row for X10. This is just too dominating at this point.
I don't like this. If they are 12-3, it is absolute deja vu. You know how many the checkpoints you gotta reach for the deja vu? First it was 2-0, it's 5-1, then it's 9-3, then it's 12-3.
Yes.
That's the deja vu checkpoints.
Yes.
If it happens here, it's gonna be insane. I have not seen a faster collapse of an entry than I've seen on A for this one. Neither from both teams.
It's just honestly Vera being enabled by his team. Oh, wow. Okay. It's just Vera being enabled by his team because Vera had the information, because he has an idea where everyone is. All he has to do is just rush forward. And then again, playing off patterns. He knew how exactly it's going to be played because he understands that Kizuna doesn't really have massive changes in how they play in defense.
I agree. I'm really just struggling to find out what's working now for Kizuna. I mean, the previous map, they were defending first, right? Now they got angles to hold. Can you just read it against X10 and win out those gun duels? Yeah, this is a straight up movement onto X10. The wall's up, collapse onto upper, but of course right now they got a space take on the CT side. Reiko will plant this up from main. He does have the Egoist there to wait up. Post plant now completely set up too. Let's see how differently they hold this compared to Kizuna.
How did you read my mind? Because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about here.
Yeah.
Shinsei coming in from upper B. He wants to go onto the site. He does have a cloudburst at least from main, so that's one angle covered up already. Vera watching in from B Link, coming in toward A. And now he just tries to push forward. He spots out one, but Vera was pretty much ready because the door hasn't been broken. Riza with the wall bang finds one more, but Temps trades out. This is a really good way of trying to go for those crosses from so many multiple angles with those wall bangs. Redco, here's a tap, just taps forward. This allowing them for even trying to froze the fake situation, and that's not happening. They cover every single angle and every single situation is going to be happening.
That's how you hold a B take into that. Like, I just never knew how Kizuna was struggling to hold against X10 whenever they had like 5 men rush into B and gotten the plant, right? Their Killjoy was even still alive, but right now, this is this is the break point. We got 12-3 now, and the fifth deja vu that can happen if Kizuna takes 3 rounds in a row. But I think at this point it just might be over. Looking at the kind of guns coming out from Kizuna.
At the same time, I'm just surprised at how much Texan has been able to just break down the strats coming in. One already goes down, Egoist, the frontliner, quickly going down by X10 trades. This is huge. Riza with the Ares, he makes it work. The Blades from Temps. Not Blades, sorry. The Odin from Temps finds one more. And Vera already on the site. Sprays out. Kimi does find him in the end over at Hut. A spray from Temps with the Odin is so very nasty. With one member left alive, Bryce finds Temps with an Odin. It's so hard to hold. And again, this is a situation we expected from before. As soon as X10 hits 12, it's a different mindset coming in from Kizuna. But honestly, it's a little bit too late. When you hit 12, yes, you can chain rounds in a row. But how much wiggle room do you have to make make mistakes?
We call it the error margin. The error margin for Kizuna right now is absolutely huge. One slip, X10 takes this. And it's not like they have a lot of like rounds or chances left to try new things. It's more like Kizuna is just happily pressing W and see what they can come out of it. And this case is another one in which it will be received by Shinsei. It's out the flash up, but Shinsei finds one headshot first. They got a positioning stop of the trades on Vera. Not happening there. Flaring Cut takes one before going down.
Look at how this is done. Very aggressive by Riza coming forward. They know already where it's going to be. Regardless, round defense 2 in a row already from Kizuna. A tall mountain to climb, 7 in a row to catch up with X10.
It really is.
We've seen Boaster, not Boaster, Fnatic win 11-3 against Loud. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if Kizuna has the mental fortitude for that.
Thanks for taking everything out of my mouth. It's like you read my mind, man.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
5G. 5 gigahertz. Anyway, sorry, I deviated a bit. This is one that they haven't tried for a while now. The W into C, but you gotta know they're running into Bryce. Still, Seekers to probably try to thin out the chances of running into people, and Vera opens it first. See Kizuna. Now Bryce holding up from behind. He want to give the space up to him first right now to get a peek out.
Kimi gets one, but it's gonna be a trade-on-trade game here from both sides. 2 left, and Riza with that Odin. He is very nasty with that gun. He's done so many amazing miracle plays with it. But in this situation, immediately a team ace, Egoist has nowhere to go. Either he walks toward, the blades of Shinsei, or he walks to the guns or the Odin of Riza.
Shinsei flanked from another continent, and he managed to get the kill there. It's just a complete massacre up on C itself. So, guys, this is the 5th deja vu breakpoint that we see here. 12-6 was what we saw before finally X10 getting that 13-6 on Haven. I can't believe we breached all 5 checkpoints for deja vu scorelines.
X10 always needs this timeout. I think this is something that they do all the time. They just really need that cool off. They need to really figure out, okay, what exactly is wrong with our attack here and how exactly is Kizuna really finding us out. And I think what's the great thing about X10 getting that, I would say, defense early is because they know that they do better on that.
Yeah.
So they were able to get as many rounds as possible, and now it's all about just sealing it up, just tying out the loose ends. But sometimes when you're not able to do that and you give too many rounds in a row, it can be very detrimental for your own team. Even though you have a big lead, mentally, are you okay still after giving maybe 5 rounds in a row? Probably not, because you start to have that mentality that I need to make something happen, and you start overheating, overextending, and making these rookie mistakes.
I think it's anything to know about X10 that they rarely overheat as one of the teams I know. So that's why that timeout is going to give them ample space to think, reconvene if anything. After all this, they got rounds to spare. It's like half a round more before Kizuna takes it to an overtime at least. So, all right, good rounds now from Kizuna. They're going to ride this up with the guns and, I won't say economy, because if they lose one, it's just over. So economy doesn't even really matter for Kizuna. They just need to take flawless rounds after rounds.
Regardless, X10 this time around, changing their pace, not going too aggressive. Waiting for the utils to go down is important, and Ego is holding down, at least for Mount C. Gives them a little bit of information that at least there's Sky there. And they also hear that Odin roar, so they know that Riza is somewhere close by, because who else has been using the Odin other than Riza? But in terms of weaponry, it's not necessarily the best, but they force it anyway. They can get value from these guns. And now, straight onto the side, you have the Trailblazer coming through, and Vera comes forward, and here comes the Viper's Pit.
No, you have to understand there's a lot of utils being placed out on C. They tried to gamble to see if they can get Kizuna, but they got nothing. And now this up on C, the Tower of the Trees, they got beautiful kills now. It's looking so good for Kizuna, but only they can keep up these kills. Shinsei got some important ones. Only Reiko left standing. Kizuna will look most likely to live another round.
Riza just stalking inside of smoke like his prey. He hears sounds of the guns, but you have no clue where exactly he is. A shot to the head by Redko. Can he actually bring it home is the question. Swaps up to the better gun, goes inside of smoke right as the integrity goes down. It's not a lot of time to work with, but he has to go for the spike. He gets it, but to plant is going to be the biggest problem here. Time is running out. He dropped a snake bite just to buy a little bit of space and time. And look at a reposition by Kizuna coming in from Haven. He gets flash, and just like that, one snake bite is all it needs to take Redko down.
Coordination, guys. We've got 4 successful rounds going in the pockets of Kizuna. And the best part is not even last man standing. They live with 2, they live with 3. So this is just good rounds here. The issue is, doesn't matter how many people live, because the economy, like I said, is not really important for them if they just lose one more round. But they really are inching closer. That is the fact not to be disputed. And now I'm going to wonder what's going on in the mentals of X10.
Each other and we'll be fine.
It's 4 in a row from Kizuna already. Clearly, these two teams thrive on defense. Now, the only ultimate that is available for X10 to use is just Wayne's ultimate. And I wouldn't say that's like the biggest game-changing ultimate right now. You can go for a pick for the spike if it was dropped to go to another site. You can hide the mini-map, give you a little bit more space. Regardless, it is on equal ground. They do have buys. But this time I'm wondering how exactly is it going to be for in terms of the set play, because you have Egoist watching B main, ready for the trade if anyone were to peek out. And 3 of them running straight to A. And look at how fast Kizuna is rotating straight to the site. Everyone is there, they hear the sounds of the guns. And with Riza on that Odin, because on this map it's pretty much similar to Ascent, because a lot of stuff is actually wall bangable. Regardless, holding on tree here, Riza.
Oh my god.
Spraying through, making sure that no one is taking that orb.
That actually is bangable, guys, in case you guys don't know. But funny enough, it actually tags Riza rather than the attackers. So everything just simmered down here. And this is actually not that favorable for Kizuna.
Well, do they know that Bryce is there? I don't think he knows. He just shot it out, immediately finds Wayne, goes for 2.
No.
That's how Bryce plays usually, because you have to check every single box. The box play is just so very nasty. Flaring gets Vera first, and Kimmy gets one more. Temps is only good to find one more, which is going to be Kimmy. And just like that, another round in the hands of Kizuna. Already, we started off with a 9-3, and now it's a 12-8.
Okay, so this is where we broke off of the 13-6 we saw earlier. The climb is real now, and this is eco weapons for X10. I feel like Kizuna, when a push comes to a shove, they really just need to turn off their brain. And that's exactly what they did. There wasn't a lot of planning required. They just relied on gunplay and secured the deal. Pretty good.
I wonder if things would change if X10 allows them to take up space and plays for retake. I'm curious to see what that would happen, but there's a lot of time. X10 has been just getting picked off one by one, trying to stop Kizuna to get onto the site. A trade of utility here, smokes onto rubble, poison orb, as well as the smokes from the Omen. Pushing out from the other side, clears out at least B, the door at the very least. No movement yet, playing very quietly. Door opens as soon as they hear the sound of the Trailblazer, sends it out first, wall banging everything they can see. Paranoia does not allow them onto the site at all. And because of the snakebite, they can't push out quite yet. And this is the problem, because you want to execute, but you can't see. And with Riza holding down with that Odin, ouch. Painful.
The rearm took a little longer for Vera to come out here, and Flaring gets a good flick onto Eagles who take it down. Kimmy with another aim. It's now Flaring's time to shine there. It's gonna find Thames. They know last contact up on tree, and it will be good. 12-9. The climb is real, ladies and gentlemen. Understand, it's a eco frag is coming out. This is the last chance X10 can afford full buys before they suddenly feel they are in absolute danger.
They weren't able to take a single round in a row. That is 6 rounds in a row for defense Kizuna. At the very least, we saw some rounds changing hands when Kizuna was on the attack. Regardless, X10 hasn't found an answer quite yet, but look at that. This might be their answer. 4 ultimates stacked together.
Launching all in tandem, yes. I'm all up for it because it's time to close it, X10. You gotta know what's at stake. Now I feel like X10 is actually worried and giving Kizuna certain space and the respect they deserve long time ago.
That is the biggest problem. The X10 has to overthinking. Vera took up that space, gonna push out a little bit into the smoke. Just waiting for the reload by Riza could be huge. And now he pushes. I'm not sure if Riza actually supposed to. He does actually. Gets a bit of a top up from his teammate. Temps is gonna be doing that, and Riza does know that Vera was playing behind the smokes. Sprays him out, takes him out, and both teams will be putting down their lockdown.
Well, it's all complete chaos as Flaring will hold down angle to take out Thames. Really important, remember, no flashes left to work with, 2 members left X10 to survive.
Oh, what a team.
Oh, it's all gone here. Still, I think the retake might be successful for Kizuna. But if they go in here, the trade, they have enough manpower. Ego is trying his best to stay alive, but it's not enough as Bryce, last man standing, will seal the deal. This is where, actually, economy happened. So every one of Kizuna is still good for a buy next round. X10 is on an eco.
X10 needs to take advantage of the rifles. And I have to say, that was rough. Because I think that X10 is giving a little bit too much respect to Kizuna right now. That's number 1. And number 2, understanding Ed 6 frags. I think that Flaring already knew that with the ultimate from Egoist, there are going to be people coming out there from B link to A. So he held that area forward because he wasn't even on the site. They weren't prepared for that.
I know. And then this is an ultimate gamble. Now Vera has an operator without shields, but at least he does have utils. So let's see if he can just make something work here. The gamble instantly fails out because the flash will tell X10 that there's a couple of Kizuna up on C-Long, but that's about it. Wall being cut through on B side to see if anyone's pushing through, but it's only going to be Eco is holding down B. So far, none of Kizuna ever tried to really push out a B to get angles. They don't really need to, honestly. So it could be a game changer here. They want to come into C. Last Hail Mary for X10, honestly. They managed to squeeze out some buys, although it's... Yeah, I'm actually very impressed they just managed to get buys. Thought they were in an eco already. They've lost so many rounds to the point that they got enough like losing economy for that.
Regardless, Look at this angle. Help by the op here, Shinsei. Just before the flash comes through, he has to give up that space, but not a big readjustment. Another flash coming forward. Shinsei gets a call-out! Beautifully done with the entry. He gets a shorty kill as well. Smoke Criminal, call his name. Egoist does find him. He stops the bleeding at the least. He gets 2. Kimi trades him out. And now we're done to 1v3. Can Vera actually make something happen here? Because all he has in hand is just the op. He can go for a save for the next round, but he has no shields. And I think to really break them, if Kizuna was proactive, take him down.
What was that movement there by Shinsei? He could have been flushed out, but he still got those kills. Might single-handedly save his team right now to go overtime maybe. Because next round is definitely an eco for X10 now.
10 seconds left.
Oh man, Vera can't even get anywhere close to the site in time for this.
He hears one.
Huh?
He did not shoot. He wants to make sure that no one's going to trade him at the very least. And a good call, honestly, at this point. Finds one more exit frag, puts down the Cloudburst, and makes sure not to move at all. He wants to bring that op next round.
I mean, getting a consolation kill is one thing, but if this is anything short of a nail-biter, call yourself a liar. Just because right now, we might able to see the first overtime here. Unless X10 pulls a rabbit out of a hat and just takes it. There could have been a 4-man Colette for that. Yeah, but let's talk less about that Colette and more about that blind shorty kill. He was just basing off like audio cues and he just got one right in the right in the face. That is Shinsei for you. Like he managed to make things work even though the rest of his team not there with him.
Flash disables Vera this time around. He's playing with his teammates. Leaving Wayne and Egoist over.
They're still not on eco, by the way. They still have creds.
Yeah. This is the final one that they can do.
A few meta, by the way, just saying.
That's all they can do. That's all they can get. They want to be able to get the firepower instead. Blades activated. That's going to be Shinsei. They have to worry about it. Now, because there's no sound, they are going to be finding, at least they have some information, that there is an op at the very least for the scout. Regardless, what X can do is just wait and whittle out those utils. They break door, fit onto B, and Shinsei immediately finds Egoist. Finding it so well. The timing was just so good. Understanding the pivot and someone pushing in from B. Kimi playing into decay. And look at Vera holding so close. And here comes the Viper's Pit at the same time.
This will be the one to actually seal it for overtime if they can hold this right. And if you know anything, I think X10 holds a Viper Pit much better than Kizuna, but they have to chance it out. This Judge Shinsei is in, but instantly traded. The King is down here. Whips out a shorty, doesn't make it in time, and right now X10 looking to wipe them. 2 members only left alive. It's still traded by Ritza.
So close. And the Odin rings so very loudly, so close. They find it. Renko playing like a rat inside of the smokes, denying the overtime for Kizuna. 2-0, but what a match it was.
Okay, that is way too close right now. If we reach into overtime, we have absolutely no way to tell where the direction of the match was going. By the way, 3-12 for Kizuna, making it back to a 12-11. Sure, that's a testament in itself, but the disparity was way too huge. You question whether they had the mental strength to do it. They clearly showed that they could, even though they didn't take the series.
It was honestly what a statement coming through here, especially because that was the map pick of X10. They were able to show their prowess on the defense side, and Kizuna showed the same one. And out of all that, if you looked, that was only one round taken by X10 to just seal it.
Yeah,
because they weren't
exactly.
able to take a lot at all coming in toward the second half. Regardless, let's have a look at the highlights here. And I think that this aggressive plays, I think early what's great about X10 was the fact that they denied the aggression coming in from Kizuna. But at the same time, Kizuna did the same thing in the playbook coming to the second half.
They done it earlier, they could have at least have lesser pressure mounting onto themselves, because in the end, sure, they said, we have nothing much to lose no more. Let's just take more risks and execute it and rely on pure Kimi and Shinsei aims, which really proved superior. Just couldn't make it in time for that overtime, but still a decent enough match moving forward. But the thing is though, I said if Kizuna wins this, it's 3-2, right? But if X10 wins, might be a 3-1 at best if Kizuna can at least take one series, but it's an absolute testament of might from X10 moving forward to the third map that will be Fracture if you move on. Oh my god, what does it come down to? We don't want a fast lower bracket, but the plays here really show that it can still go in anyone's hand.
I think for X10, what's really important here is their mental coming forward. I think they know that Bleed is the benchmark to play with. And understanding how exactly your enemy plays and works has been huge. I mean, yes, we see outplays from Kizuna, which I was concerned about because honestly, we would have been going to an overtime, but they knew the risks. And I think that for X10, they were a lot more risk-taking compared to Kizuna because Kizuna felt a little bit more reckless.
That's right. No, I mean, you gotta take a reckless play, that's fine. It's ironic because they only became reckless at the end of the half, whereas they rely on sheer will. In the first half, they could have actually like put up more monkey plays that would have not imagined.
I think it was honestly Shinsei disabled because you have to remember how Shinsei can play well is if he gets the information on where exactly to look or to be. And in a lot of situations, they weren't able to because look at how much control X10 had on the site. It was all about control. That's why they're running that double controller. Because as soon as the Viper's pit wall, the Viper, the poison wall goes down, immediately Wayne would just smoke out. We saw they take two different approaches in trying to enter the site for Kizuna, that is. Which is one, they tried to wait for the utility to go down, and as soon as it went down, you can see Kizuna had already choked them onto A main because they are so proactive in taking up space on other ends and getting the information. If they play too aggressive, they go through a wall, they get decayed, and then immediately just get sprayed out.
Oh, you know what? Let's just keep it simple. I feel like X10 finally won just because they're Viper's pit.
Yeah.
If it was too complicated for you guys, I'm just going to say that Shinsei, when he was in the pit, straight up, he got one kill, but that was all that he wrote. Because the moment he was taken down is where Kizuna actually started collapsing there. X10, they had those angles covered. They really know how to hold B and show Kizuna how to do it. So really the last straw was that, you know, Kizuna just cannot bring overtime. I'll say, blaring MVP for the round. He really put a lot of work on his back. As well as Shinsei. I feel like the team showed up just a little bit too late. Still, my heart goes up for them though. They still have a chance for a comeback, although a small one, you know, to make it all the way to a 5-map series.
I think Egoist had a great start on defense because it felt like it was honestly his playground. He had so much space to work with, given the fact that it was smokes and it was actually given the fact that it was smokes and it was also also the Viper wall. But at the same time, you have to really give it to Kizuna. It wasn't really Bryce on in the lurks anyway. It was honestly just them trying to. I think in the second half it was more them overthinking that Bryce would be going for the rotate. It wasn't really Bryce going for the rotate. If anything, he was on the site itself. He was playing on C and rotating in a little bit later. How many times have you seen Bryce as the final man left standing?
Rarely though. I see like remember the first two rounds, Egoist was just manning himself down to rest. MVP deserving for his own. The KAST not really as high as a lot of other members, but the impact that he had on those rounds really skyrocketed them. Imagine if the first two rounds actually went to Kizuna, could have been a different game altogether when the momentum started building.
I think for Kizuna, winning pistol is very, very important because it puts them in the right mindset. At the same time, I mean, like when you look at X10, they're also a team that when we look at mindset, Kizuna does better when they win pistol. But X10 is a team that even though they lose pistol, they have an idea on how exactly to move forward, understanding that, okay, we lost the 2 pistols, we lost the advantage. So how do we move on from now on? And I think that for Kizuna, again, it's the same plays over and over again, except on attack, but on defense is when they truly shine. But it was already such a big gap done by X10, and taking that advantage is what exactly propelled them to victory. But for now, the question is whether it's going to be a 3-0 or is it going to be going to a 3-2 is the question coming forward as we go for a quick break. After this, more Valorant after.
Hi, my name is Liza and I'm from Kizuna Esports. My role in the team is Initiator and I'm also the IGL. Fun fact about the team is that we're a bunch of jokesters, so during tight situations, you know when to make jokes so calm the nerves down. But when it's time to get serious, they'll get serious. I'm the IGL because of my cool, calm, collected mindset, so during tournament games, I won't really crack under pressure making a call. We felt really happy qualifying through the relegation bracket into Split 2. It was really intense in the relegation bracket because we lost our first series against the Monks and we dropped into the low bracket instantly. And we went triple OT against Team Pass and everything went smooth right after that series. In Split 1, we didn't perform to what we expected. So coming to Split 2 with 2 new sidings, Shinsei and Bryce, we are expected to qualify for Ascension.
Hi, my name is Kimi from Kizuna Esports and I'm currently playing Flex. Riza is a super cool, calm and collected player. He's very good at taking calculated risks, which is what I respect. I'm happy to call him my IGL. Flaring is a super funny and well-rounded player. Plays by the percentages super well, and I'm happy to call him my teammate. Usually during matches, I just go based on my instincts and whatever my IGL Riza says because I trust him.
Hi, I'm Flaring, and I'm the controller player for Kizuna Esports. So, as you all probably already know, Kimi is part of the world-renowned AIM group, Yuki AIM, due to his incredible mechanics. I'm confident he'll be able to showcase his abilities on the main stage. I think the team I'd like to play is probably made in Thailand. I think they're the best team in their region and they won last split. We've always played them a lot in practice and matched up really well, so it would be interesting to see if we got the same results in an official. So I think the most important thing is just to try our best and have fun. Due to the nature of the space we play in, a lot of people talk shit about you, put you down, or just think you're not very good. As long as you believe in yourself and just keep playing, you'll eventually make it.
Hi, I'm Shinsei, and I'm the duelist for Kizuna. Bryce is like the biggest beta I know. Like, you can be entering into A side and he's still lucky into B and blaming us for like dying at A, or he's like the only one alive after like 1 minute into the game. I always eat 1 cup of Shin Ramen before my matches so that I can carry my useless lurker and drop 30 on the enemies.
Hello, my name is Bryce. I'm the Sentinel lurker for Kizuna Esports. Some of y'all may know me as the Riot Gun Buddy Giver or Gordon Ramsay, but I prefer to call myself the GOAT. I actually brought Shinsei over from my old team LVR to play with me in Kizuna Esports, and he plays the duelist role. But he's not really putting up duelist role numbers, and I think honestly I could play a duelist better if I wanted to. I would say I'm most afraid of LVR, my previous team. They now have a star-studded roster, and I'm most afraid of their Sentinel player diffing me, which is Wisa.
Gonna try to line up and scary repositions one instantly, 1, 2, 3.
We'll see how they
think a ranked game right now. We're working on Star Out, potentially even an ace.
into the cosmic divide, deny vision.
Oh, they already reached up onto A. Spray, and they're gonna be more. Goes for real. That's more. Is it?
Flaring pops up, gets a hit, gets one more. Flaring with 3.
0 going in the ways of X10. I don't know if I was muted, but allow me to reintroduce myself. Welcome back, it's me, Xeno Viper. That's Taj Bunny here. You've witnessed 2 games already between Kizuna and X10. Map with 3 sides, all going in the way of X10 like as if it was scripted from the beginning. Almost a comeback though by Kizuna on the previous round. I still say a good job, well done. But there is a true fact to remain, is that if they want to climb, it's going to have to be 3 map flawless, whereas X10 has pretty much got a breeze.
If Kizuna actually brings this to another 3 maps, this is going to be very interesting. But I am projecting here, the next 3 maps will be very, very close. Map 1, a little bit, I would think, a distance coming in from X10. But then Kizuna is rather a slow cooker. And I already projected that map 2 will be close. I'm projecting map 3, map 4, and potentially map 5 would be the same. And I think that we should really talk about Fracture, because when we talk about Fracture here, I think that, I mean, you said that Kizuna does better on Fracture because of the control. I think that X10 might be doing better, because look at how much control they had on the last map.
Oh, no, I agree. You know, when I said that Lotus is a small map, yeah, when you look at the defenders, how X10 retaliated so fast against Kizuna's entry, that's a testament of how they know how to retake those space. But the thing when it comes down to Fracture now, there's 4 different entry points, right? It's all a matter of the lurk game has to be extra strong here. The space invading is so good.
That's fun, because we always talk about lurks, especially for Egoist and Bryce. But I don't know if you noticed just now, but kind of like there is a switch up here between Egoist and Wayne, because they were kind of like switching up the lurks during Lotus. But now Wayne will be running the smokes, so I don't think that might be the same thing.
Because like, for Fracture, it's like a 25% chance you actually run into someone when you either push out or you push aside, right? So that's why it's more on like, there is a stronger element of luck coming into Fracture compared to a map like Lotus here. And we get to see our Big Daddy Brim, at least back here, and Fate has been missing, at least for the past 2 maps. I love her. She's an absolute insane initiator in her own right. So, but Redco doesn't want to go that route. He just prefer the Sky, and I feel that both Sky and Fate has its own merits coming into Fracture, depending on how aggressive your team plays.
I think the reason why they're going for this is because, like, I think for Fate, it's best to be complemented with that, I would say, the Breach, because Sky's flashes aren't true flashes. It's the dog coming out, and then, you know, it blinds and deafens at the same time. So you kind of need that quick flash coming through with the Breach. But I do, if you notice just now, I think that because of how many flashes that X10 is bringing in, I'm a bit concerned, because you have the Breach, you have the Sky.
Yeah.
That can be very, very oppressive.
The only thing about Fracture is more on like, they are tight spaces, similarly to Split once you get on site. But it's more like once you get there, then you are able to hold it. It's more like, you know, a lot of people, they are worried about the lurks. We talked a lot about this, right? So, you know, as long as one person is missing, you always got to be watching your 6. So in this case, usually sometimes we do see that Viper coming into play here, because at least when you have a Viper, you are able to leave certain corners unchecked because one wall covers 3. So, you know, Brimstone is still good. It's just a rare few agents, a smoker agent that's actually pretty viable besides Bind right now.
Regardless, I am really curious, because Shinsei usually runs the jet, and this time around, running the Raze, I'm not sure how the performance is going to be. I was just talking about it, how Vera is a little bit more, I would say, fluid when it comes to the agents that he picks in terms of his duelist pool. Regardless, Bryce with the opening finds one, but Redco answers back, and Vera for one more attempts. Very quick on the push out from Arcade. From Canteen. And it's just so hard for them to do anything when you have a team that's just so quick with the rotations.
Yeah, I agree. That's just really... the thing about this map, it also is a reminiscent of Lotus, where for the defenders, rotating is also pretty fast, right? Because your CT is just one straight line. And in this case, you know, having pistols, like Kizuna didn't take down enough X10 to actually hold down a successful post plant. Their idea was just get in, get out if they can. So sure, we got the spike down, but what's the point if you can hold it?
Regardless, a good start from X10, but this is still Kizuna's map. I'm curious to see what they have in store for us coming forward.
I mean, this is the first time right now that Kizuna didn't actually force buy along with X10. So maybe that is the MO switch up, and maybe not give X10 the, you know, the 3-0, 4-0 early lead. Redco loves his Guardian. He's been carrying that forward and, you know, receiving good kills on that.
He's been good with the tabs.
Yeah, he's just good with it. One peek, two peek. Now he heard Egoist, so now they know there's two there. Important information, and they are very happy to back off, considering that the rest of X10 now is actually going to push up. The flash will connect. However, Kimi ready for the fault line. Can the team look to receive though? And the answer is yes. Couple of X10 still letting those kills, but Kizuna in their own right took down very good members.
I love this idea of just choking them on main. They took way too long on B, and because of that, XL was able to push from A, stopping them in their own spawn. Shinsei, last man time standing, and Redco, all they have to do is just tap some hits. We talked about him on that garden, but if you remember against Bleed, Redco has done some pretty insane head taps, multi-frags with just the Sheriff.
Yeah, I remember that. It's just like, when it's reminiscent of like Bleed, you know, you've been down in their eco, you see the kill feed, it's just Sheriff tapping heads. And in their own right, they are actually trading, you know what I'm saying? It's not like isolated kills. So X10 is actually trying to do something like that if they can, you know, have their own Sheriffs, but it doesn't matter. Redco is just going to carry on his Guardian to the next few rounds. What's new here, guys? X10 is, you know, winning pistol and anti-eco straight up. Kizuna once again on the lower end, first trying to climb back up if they can. Momentum is so important, and right now I'd say there's not a more important map than map 3 that Kizuna has to win in order to stay alive.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kizuna does win this. I feel like Kizuna really thrives under pressure. If you notice, it's always toward the second half, toward the end of the game, that they really start to show their true colors. If they're able to just really stop, extend their tracks, it will do so well. And since Kizuna is such a momentum-heavy team, and this map as well, if they take the momentum back, it looks so very good. And immediately, just onto the side, just taps coming out from Redco. Unfortunately, not connecting onto the players. This time around, they get the site, they get the plant.
Most likely, again, this is just a Musi. Shinsei needs to cook up his movement, right, just to see if they can catch him on an arcade, but no one's there. They're all on CT. But right now, this is the ult. Breach coming in to flash out. You have to remember that they are on a gun deficit, of course, for X10 to carry on this bonus, but Risa still manages to take one before Redco exchanges.
The Rolling Thunder as well just displaces them. Vera trying to go for that tap. Shinsei coming in from arcade, just taking his time. But Redco's tap is just nasty. 3 rounds in a row. Finally stopped by Kimi. Kimi with a multi-frag. But Riza stops Temps in his tracks. They take it away, and they understand that they need to take this and just roll with it forward if they want to continue another round.
Okay, I think as far as how X10 actually got this round, he's got to remember that because some of them are actually still on Sheriffs. So consider it a good bonus. Kizuna will take it up. They still have full rifles and half shields only for now, but this is where now X10's rifles will shine, right? Thames has already launched his first Rolling Thunder and gotten 2 more points up in his books now. It is going to, like, no pun intended, but roll on pretty effectively. So, no downtime.
I approve of that one. I approve of that one. Regardless, gonna just clear out the opening for his team, rushing forward, making sure no one's playing aggressive. And Kizuna this time around understanding that for X10, the idea of them, if they push out from one side of the map, they're just going to pincer them from main. No movement, a silence, and Kizuna taking their time this time. I like this change of pace. I understand that playing aggressive on this map is very rewarding, but defense for X10 has always just been so very scary to break.
It's just not real lurks, they're really just defaulting. No dish attempt.
Oh,
wait,
man.
what?
They played aggressive, and immediately Wayne punishes them for it. And I think the idea was they thought that everyone had run onto the site. Someone was holding, but Wayne was already waiting for that to happen.
Okay, this is so good knowing that Hall side is clear because of the Seekers pushing out. So they know now they're congregating up and B side. And this is where the X10 is ready to receive. Kizuna just pushing in. Rita once again trying to do work for his team. But Egoist is found out. A failed nade though. And Rita finds the second one.
Oh, that is not good. That situation, he was displaced because of Riza's Prowler.
Yep.
And they get the plant this time around, but it's looking a little bit more stronger. Flaring with his ultimate. Clears out at least one side of Canteen. But before the ultimate went down, Temp spots up Flaring. Timing is just so well in his hands. A flash inside of tower. They know exactly where he is. Wayne clears it out and Temps for one more.
It was over before the retake even even before the post plan Kizuna even had on plan.
It was very quick, and they understood that if Kizuna was given a chance to prepare for that post plan, they cannot do anything about it. So the only way to break it, play quick.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the orbital strike from flaring up on Canteen. Yes, I mean it locks out there and a part of CT, but we weren't really sure where they were in the first place. So call it a zoning out if you will, but yeah, I'm just unsure if they had information.
I would have preferred him to just straight up, either ult in the canteen itself on one side. So that means that you have already flushed them to come out from the other side instead.
They could actually just even wait because
post-plant.
Exactly. You could even wait. Like there's absolutely no rush for that. But then again, that was only information on flaring. I'm not sure where the other member was at
that's
that
why
point
I'm
in time.
not sure how the information was relayed there.
Yeah.
I think they thought that someone was playing right behind that screen, which is why they decided to ultimate there.
Okay.
Regardless, it's immediately running in from two Sands. They rush forward. No one is pushing out quite yet. Shinsei already full control of Sands onto rope, playing out drop, sprays out. His Roomba finds someone. A jump down from Reiko stops Kimi in his tracks. And he goes for two, finds Shinsei. Very nasty start to the game. And they get three, actually, for Redco as they rush onto the side. Flaring gets one more. At least for the trade, Vera gets two more. And I like the fact here is the fact that for Redco, rushes down, gets three, he goes down, and then Vera comes up forward.
It doesn't even really matter how fast they push forward because they knew Kizuna was on that eco. So therefore, they had the capabilities to push out. But it's just unfortunate that, I forgot who was down there, like below ropes, but they were actually both flashed at the same time.
It was Kimi.
I think it was Kimi
Yeah,
for sure.
watch this again. See, they flashed through. So Shinsei had full control of sight.
Oh yeah,
This
Renko
jump
flashed
down by
him.
Renko, yeah. Splashed out. Both of them were looking at the rope itself.
Oh yeah, Riza tried to re-pick there on Redco, but he was really holding down that angle. So it just all went to X10's favor here. Believe there could be a, a timeout will happen here, but still
What do you think
early one to
Kizuna
start.
can do?
Considering like they're actually like attacking first, I really like split info. If you're playing a map like Fracture, you have to always be split, and you don't really need to really commit to a site that fast. You could even play a 3-1-1 to be fair.
Yeah.
Put two behind, one on arcade, one on dish, just to see if you can get orbs. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's why this map has 4 orbs, right? Because you want to have advantage for those orbs. And I think those orbs would really enable them. With Riza's ultimate is really good. Kimi's Rolling Thunder is really good. Bryce's, even Flaring's, Orbital Strike can be really good. But the fact is, they're not able to get those because Extend hasn't really been allowed them to push up.
Yeah, you see the lot of pro teams playing, right? The orb control for Fracture has been more important than any other maps here because the faster you get to your ultimate, actually the better you secure a site. And
because the sites are really tiny.
Exactly. And it's actually not like X10's really preventing Kizuna from pushing up. It's not like X10 is pushing up to dish every single time, so okay, this time it actually is. Redco actually pushed out of dish and he's got himself an orb. So 3 more down to his Seekers. Now actually, while I'm speaking, that Ego is actually found Bryce. I'm not really sure where. Oh, that's up on B main.
The aggression from Vera rewards them. He also gets 2 with his pain shells. Flaring answers. Redco for 1 more. Can't go for 2 though. Because Flaring stops him. Got the spike, but he's the last man standing. It was 1 versus 2. They know that he was last seen in A main.
This is so weird now. Like you know what's funny? The best place for him to move is actually to take ropes.
No,
I
do not want to see a boom esports moment.
You remembered.
Nah, man.
Well, he just needs to get beautiful taps. And going up against Egoist and Wayne, who is pretty much on max HP. That's a tall task, but he does have 3 smokes. Just need to find Wayne in a very compromised situation and find the head first if he can, but no way, Jose, that's gonna happen.
That's rough because if you think about it, coming into A side is very, very difficult. You have left side, right side to worry about. You have drop. You also have the top side and bottom side and stairs.
You know what's funny? If he actually dropped the smoke there, he just gave away his position, but at least he could make it on site and clear out certain angles.
Or at least just go for the plant so that he's able to get some creds. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, also, he doesn't really know where they are. So hindsight on hindsight, he could have smoked at least to, do the smoke criminal, get on site just a little bit. But who knows? 5-1 again to start really early on is just...
Again, Kizuna. Pressure cooker. Not pressure cooker, sorry. Slow cooker. Waiting for that second half for them to really pop off. Attacking can be difficult. It's Vera holding this angle. this time around. There is no collateral, but it is still big enough. Without Shinsei getting onto site, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Hard to take up space without those satchels.
No, the best part about that is that Thames has this Rolling Thunder up again. The moment if Kizuna runs in, they can instantly just use it. But then again, Kizuna is on eco, so I doubt that they will want to expand it out on an eco side. But look at Kizuna, they also have 3 ults, so they can really do something with it too.
This time around, they play underpass. They tried to play sneaky and go through arcade, but with Vera constantly moving, it's really hard for them to figure out where to hit.
Well, we're hearing the utils coming out, and we know it might be a B push here, although no one from X10 is actually on side of B. They're just trying to play with the utils of the turret plus the nanoswarm to try to just hold them back a little bit before they actually initiate the retake. Like X10 is 100% comfortable with letting Kizuna get on site because they're so good at retaking.
Here's Redco coming forward. He's always so good with those first picks. And here comes the Rolling Thunder just to completely displace Kizuna out of the way. As Wayne holds down Sands, he already pinged out Main. He knows that the last 2 people are in there. Redco so very alert and aware there's going to be one more on drop. And Redco already for 3. The multi-frags from Redco has been insane this particular day. We talked about how Redco not able to play, really frag out. But Redco is just so good at anchoring to the point that he's getting so many of these frags.
Oh gosh, guys, give Kizuna a chance here. Well, they got their chance on Lotus, but you know, this is more than a testament. This is a statement they are making to Kizuna. They said that, yes, Kizuna, you had your time to shine. You had your climb, but right now we are revamped and we are ready to go. And it just shows that maybe, you know, when they go up and meet Bleed up there, they just know that, hey, Kizuna has really given them a run for their money too. Now the guns are coming out here for Kizuna again. Final time, the creds are so in X10's favor. Kizuna needs to slice and dice this. This surgical position, they really need to take out important members of X10 before they can even go into the second half feeling comfortable.
Look at how X10 reacted or responded to Shinsei and his showstopper. They respected it enough to stay away, and they respected it enough to even just go for those retakes. But Shinsei is not allowing that to happen. Too much respect is not something great in my books. Finds one. A great cross by Redco at the very least. That smoke gave him a little bit of space to work with. They also have the Killjoy detained. It's going to be Redco on site, but his teammates are there to really help him and give him a lot of space. Another ultimate expanded. It's the Rolling Thunder. Shinsei gets one more, but Ego is playing at the smokes. Does get his place. A flash to really give him a little bit of space. Decay as well as the aftershock. That is just so very oppressive. But I'm just concerned for Kizuna here because how many ultimates do you need to win a round?
Oh, I know, but at this point, really, they take what they can, and I'm just glad they came out of it all alive. That is so important right now, okay? They can't really... They had to count their lucky stars. Like, even losing one member, if one can't afford a full buy, it might be detrimental the next round.
Absolutely.
So good here, even though half shield still. But rifle style in the hand, they can't afford to take long-range fights now. After a long time coming, they were struggling to put the numbers on the board, but now they can.
3 ultimates used just now, but this might be a good way to take away that momentum from X10. For X10 this time, a little bit more aggressive. They're disallowing them from even being able to have access to the orb. Orbital Strike used just to clear them off from Sand. Vera loses some HP from the util, and so does Temps. Evis is so very aggressive, so very early. Riza at least gets a 2, but Redco for the trade. A 2-for-2 situation at the very least. They know that Kimi is close by door. Redco repositions himself.
They timed out for Redco. He could actually have gotten the kill.
Exactly.
But nope, they decided to back off, respecting Redco a lot there. So, hindsight, Redco could have actually popped a flash, but there was no one there to follow up with him. The spike is still in their possession though for Kizuna. And they're moving together, most likely. There is... Honestly, Bryce has already got towers. So,
yeah,
that's something he can work along with that. Get some sound cues from his teammates.
That's good, honestly, because they use a lot of utility.
Yeah.
So it really plays with the minds of X10 that, okay, since they committed so much here, it is likely going to be an A hit. It's going to be B. Flaring takes a lot of damage. Look at how fast X10 had read them like a book.
Yeah, you
20
understand.
HP left.
Wayne is playing way too close though there. And through the smoke, he actually finds Kimi. That's a luck shot there by Egoist. But honestly speaking though, the smoke gonna have to do some work. It's the longest smoke in the game after all. And now they're gonna fight with a deficit to hold down this post plant. With Flaring almost dead.
Go is rushing onto site. But looking at Flaring, he does still have those post-plant utils. You have to take him out. You know exactly where Bryce is at the very least. First pick is going to be important, but Egoist has a shorty. And now to just flush out Flaring,
no way.
and just like that, they take it back.
They had what it takes for that round, man. But, you know, I guess the 3 versus 3 part, X10 will still come up stronger. They really can't fight them head on, man. I just really feel Kizuna needs to take out enough members of X10 to weigh out the balance first. Because you know that X10's unit plays is much more better than Kizuna holding it out. And they're fair, they don't have ultimates as well.
I was about to say that for Flaring, he did have his Molly still. I'm wondering why he didn't play for post-plant. Or I think because he was stuck in arcade, he wasn't able to really you know, set it up. I'm just curious.
I'm not exactly sure who was the blind kill. Remember? There was like a smoke kill earlier on too, so... I was looking at the utilities before the plant actually came down, and Kizuna actually had the upper hand in terms of utils. X10 didn't have much utils to begin with. I think there was only one. Thames had one aftershock and one flash, that's it. And Redco almost had... Was it Redco or just Thames? I don't remember. Either of which where both teams just decided to rely on their gunplay and just play out of smokes. That was a bit questionable, I think.
I mean that they had full control of site just now, given the fact that they did lose 2 over on main, because I felt like it was such a big, there was a lot of resources used there by both teams. It was very scrappy over on A main. But the fact is, I think Kizuna really wanted to fight for that orb and then immediately push onto site. But with Bryce holding down on B, it was, I felt like Kizuna could have rotated a little bit more early.
Let's have some fun.
Those microseconds of timing changes a lot of things for sure. Like Kizuna, like you said, just 1 second early, make a big difference, I think. Still a lot of things to speculate, but can't really break down the game too much, especially when everything's happening way too fast.
Oh, man.
Wait, the boombot triggers upon a turret?
Yes, he does. Regardless,
So they learn.
there is still a lot of space taken, and Vera with the aggression comes out. He's good enough for one, finds Riza, even though he has been sprayed and also deafened and blinded. He sprays through, and immediately Redco's util finds one more. Kizuna already on the inside. It's so hard for him to push out.
Wait, huh?
Yeah, who's attacking? Who's defending, right?
Who's defending? Like, they came in from Dish, and now they're pushing up halls where X10 is just locked out of halls.
They're trying to deny them the space onto A main.
Excuse me?
Look at that. And they punish him for that. I didn't think that Shinsei should have pushed that out so much, but they still have control of main at the very least. And Aftershock 2 displays them, Kimmy for 2, but they do get displaced at the same time. Redco Keiko for 2. No, it's not going to be happening. Temps at least trades back.
The dish is just so good. The dishing out of each power still. X10 has the 2 members left alive. Every time it happens this, Kizuna has not clutched a 1 versus 2 yet. Not today. If there's anything right now, it will be Bryce to try to hold this. There's no mollies on site. It's not replanted out. Bryce manages to take it. He's on 24 HP, but he's way too low as Thames will actually clutch it out.
My ult's ready.
Not a single 1v2 ever going in Kizuna's favor because X10 makes it impossible for them.
Still very, very skirmishy these rounds. This fights on A. On A main, the control rather. I was so confused for a moment there. I wasn't sure where everyone was pushing through. You would think that...
Yeah, I was like, okay, sure.
I understood that they did already go into A main, and the idea was for X10 to just really choke them inside. But the fact is, they had taken out everyone on A.
That's right. Not just that, like... You know how fast Kizuna responded knowing there was at least 4 in halls? Means they just zipped through Dish and took A instantly. So while that was good, it was still not enough to hold down because they just lost to pure aim on site 2. So as you can tell, now not only the trades, but the crosses are just strong on X10. They know which angle to hold and where to, push it out in the end.
Shinsei, this time around playing it a little bit more slow. He'll be the one watching flag. And they put a lot of pressure onto B main. With Egoist out of the way, that's one more utility holder to worry about out of the way. Now Bryce clears out at least
Bomb grenade out.
tower with his swarm grenade. But it means for post plant, he's only gonna be able to work with one.
Yeah, I agree. Molly's,
your fear!
well, Molly is still there for flaring, so that is at least a form of post plant they can do. So, well, we got Nightfall also coming in to see if we can push up, but it's all a fake. They are not even pushing whatsoever. They have made a beeline back for A, where Redco is holding there, but can't find the head. Shinsei grabs one, and they will get side in. Shinsei, he is stunned though, and that's where the blast pack actually helps him to first take side control.
Already on the side, but Temps for 2. Look at those sprays. They're just so very nasty. It's an ace! What on earth happened?
Pathetic.
Temps, my guy! He's got his hands up in disbelief, and so do we. He's there alone. He's waiting. He received. Redco was gone first. Where the crosses on him? Temps, you got a 4K in the first map. You got a 4K in the second one. I understand you want to top it on this one, but what an amazing manner he's actually made it work first.
I really need to see that again.
Replay, please. Want to buy replay?
That was insane. And just so very quick.
Yeah, that's the fastest ace and the most beautiful ace I've ever seen in all of VCT NYSG. Hands down.
I'm still in disbelief regardless. Look at how aggressively they're playing. Bryce just sprays out here. Wayne tries to switch out to the short. It does not happen. Bryce quickly making a lot of damage with that classic as Egoist with that up finds Shinsei in return. And here is another ult used here from the attacker side.
Guys, when Ego is on an op, you know it's over. I mean, sure, you want to take the space right now with the lockdown, and most likely they will get this plant. Because why not, don't you? Well, there's one savior of the round will be Kimi with his Rolling Thunder. And that's all they have working for them. I mean, Bryce is also still alive with 1 nanostorm left.
Still, they did get the plant. All they have to do is just work on that post plants, and Bryce aggression will give them a lot of value. Kimi playing from inside of tower, didn't get displaced, but Egoist will come in from arcade. Catches him off guard. He knows there's someone playing in main.
Yeah, Ego's already moved out so close right now, and you know they are so low. He makes it work now. 4K, potentially even ace right now, maybe for him, but Visa says no. Another 9-3 in the first half. All 3 games, Curse was activated, but the holy water dispels it. Can they at least right now, please, make it work?
Still in shock at that ace from Temps. We saw multi-frags from him throughout these 3 maps. But it's just been so shocking at his performance today. I know that Temps is the master of the multi-flags, right? Cool too, but today Temps is just on a whole nother level. You can tell how much he wants this. It's already 2-0, and Kizuna needs to take this back. They need to bring it back. A reverse sweep, per se, like what we saw from Paper X against DRX of VCT Pacific.
See the stress mounting in flaring as well. We got a halftime break right now at least, and you know he wants so much for his team. Honestly, the entire team of Kizuna wants this. Like, they've worked their way up so far, only to be stopped mid-tracks right now with X10. They did so well in the playoffs just to be knocked down here and potentially being eliminated by X10 very, very soon if they don't step up.
1 enemy remaining.
You gotta really give credits also to X10. How they played this map just works out. I mean, at first I said this map works well in Kizuna's favor because of their playstyle. But X10 is so good at reading them. How many times has Kizuna been stopped or just really locked down just in main because they're not able to watch their flank? In terms of aim duels, well, yes, Bryce has been winning at times. You really gotta give it. When you have 3 more people that are just so good at winning aim duels, I'm talking about Temps, I'm talking about Redco, I'm talking about Egoist. You know what, make it 4 with Wayne as well. He's just so good at those aim duels, those 1-taps. It's so hard to even have one person lurking because your only person who's watching the backline has just been taken out.
I say time and time again here, like Kizuna as like Sunrise plays the Cinderella story, I'm rooting all for them, but they really, really have their work cut out for them. Because if you want me to be cold as steel, is the fact that X10 has really got the basics and fundamentals set in straight. Like, if you give Temps that kind of ace like that, if you give them a retake of a 2v3 just to load it out, you know, not just they got the aims done right, but they know how to work individually. This is the replay you guys are looking for.
Oh, that was what happened. They lined up for him.
It was the lineup.
And honestly, you really gotta give it to him. He got 1-2 over from Sand, over and CT at the same time. He cleared that out, and he understood that Bryce was playing over on drop. So it was just a little bit of a peek of the head from Bryce, but he was so sharp. That's a micro angle he played with. And then after that, it was just straight up a spray collat.
Honestly, the most respectable part of that ace was not even the ace. It was actually
His reaction.
that kill up there on drop, right? Because it was just a micro fraction of like a micrometer. I don't know what you want to call it, but a pixel.
I want them to zoom in onto his reaction because he was like shook.
I'm so glad at least this halftime here we got the replay as what maybe Chad is looking for. And you saw Temps just shook, like his face just lit up, like whoa, what just happened?
I don't think he was expecting that either. Regardless, this time, gonna just quickly clear out Arcade. It's gonna be a quick one from X10. Rushing forward here is gonna be Vera. He gets tagged out by the Roomba, and does eventually go down to Kizuna. And right now, Riza gets one more. Temps finds Shinsei, but this is all they can do. Egoist goes down. Redco, can you make a 1v4 happen? No, you can't, because this is a very nasty corner, as well as a double swing from Kizuna.
Okay, I respect that he took out the Prowler, I think, but having enough members alive will get the trade. So at least Kizuna gets an early one in the pistol, right? They've been giving all the pistols and anti-eco to X10 so far right now. So the disparity is just 5 points. It can work so long as X10 doesn't reach 10 points early. Kizuna can mount this on. We see here X10 is not forcing, so Kizuna has it down, at least for one more round, I think. And Flaring goes for an early Phantom. That might actually help in the economy in the long run.
This time around, it's going to be X10 on those Sheriffs. We've seen some insane taps by X10 before, so I wouldn't count them out quite yet. But given the fact that this map has a lot of nasty angles, you want to be... I think this one for Kizuna will work like a charm, but look at how they play here underpass. We rarely see Kizuna actually taking space down here before. And now look at where Kizuna has ended. They're coming in from Arcade. And in this situation, it gives a lot of information. And right now, the sprays from Riza is just so nasty. He gets 3.
I respect at that range, you can get those kind of frags. Of course, the concuss really helps, but the X10 is just not really going to have it this round at least. With all members of Kizuna still alive, make it a flawless. Yeah, just good spotting, right? From an Arcade coming in. It just catches 3 people unsuspecting. So 9-5, like a protracted. Now X10's got their rifles, and it's a free one for Flaring, who carries on this Phantom. Didn't even get scathed, so full half shield still there for him. And Riza has an early Nightfall. That would change a lot of things.
Might be a good thing, because if you remember the last time Riza had Nightfall, they secured the round. Now, for this defense, I would love to see Kizuna go a little bit more aggressive because they have that Nightfall. They can just pincer them on main itself, just come in from both sides. But that's not going to be happening. Kizuna this time understanding that they need to respect that space and would rather just hold back. Shinsei, as usual, playing a little bit more forward. He has been great for those initial peaks. And with the Prowler taken out, it does give them the information. But you can see immediately where exactly Temps as well as Egos are on B. And it gives a little bit of edge, or at least an idea for Bryce that 2 people are on B main. But the shots are out. And Vera played with that Prowler. It's just so nasty. And Shinsei goes for 2. Kimi for 1 more.
The pick up from Kimi was a little late, but doesn't matter. At least like all of Kizuna is still alive from that hall shot. Actually, I'm just kidding. They do lose Rita, however, when he had that Nightfall. Would it make a difference though? I doubt so. This is actually a good round now from Kizuna, taking another gun round away from X10. They just need to look for Egoist, which has already made himself known up there at Sands earlier. So, triple from Shinsei. Call it a collat actually. Like that spray down actually got him 2.
Yeah. And on top of that, they got upgrades as well. Next time, forced once again into the eco. Egoist this time, at least, will be running the Spectre.
Egoist, more like Ecoist.
Wow. And Temps with the Marshal. Okay, I'm really curious to see how exactly they're doing this. I think for X10, the idea is to maybe just take away guns. Perhaps Temps playing a little bit more back. But I know they're not projecting to win this round. Because look at that, Temps doesn't have any shields at all. They do have 1 ultimate.
I can respect this though. They do actually have what it takes to actually win this eco. Looking at Seekers, they can actually isolate those kills, push forward, and actually just stinger them down. You know, that can happen here, knowing that they are also pretty sharp on this Sheriff, both on Redco and Wayne. So let's see how they start. It will be Trailblazer, trying to lock down left and right, opening, even Sands control being given out to X10. He will not stop. Vera is in, but unfortunately, he is a good timing on the concuss. Bring him down. Kizuna has got them all in the crossfire. It's an absolute firing range. Well positioned by Kizuna. We'll take this one.
understanding that they had the better guns here, Kizuna played a little bit more back, and all they had to do is just wait for them to just commit onto them. Very good for one at the very least. So,
closer one, I think. Yeah.
I mean, here's another close map. Extend had a good lead, I have to say, but usually it's always tale as old as time between these two teams. It's always X10 having that big gap in the beginning and then Kizuna coming back in the second half.
But the difference is that this is actually a very early comeback compared to like the first and second game. It's like they do have comeback potential. They've done it 2 games in a row, which means that it is possible. The only issue is what's the metric in which where it snowballs? Is it going to be impactful where they put X10 on the lower pedestal? They will be the first to reach 10 points, you know? It's more like the tug of war of control right now. And at least in this map, for the first time in a long time, I see Kizuna has the, I would say it has the momentum before X10.
Immediately Vera, he loves playing Sands and he gets in a lot of pressure. He clears out 2 different angles as well with his paint shells. It clears up one corner as well as inside. Here comes the Nightfall as well. Shinsei pops out his ultimate, unfortunately not hitting anyone quite yet. 2 ultimates are used already. They do finally get the plant. Red Code does get one by Riza with the multi-frags as well as Shinsei for 1 more. Vera from drop finds 1. Riza already with 3 and now Vera all alone. Let's see if he's able to take this 1v3 is the question. Immediately he gets spot out here. The flash comes out. He can't survive any moment longer.
Oh my god, the initiatives and like the returns I'm seeing here from Kizuna is so... like, it's actually impeccable compared to being on Lotus. Like, there was an improvement on Lotus compared to Haven, but right now it's like the shape is starting to form itself. It's like you can see like the unit and the picture coming together. So, you know, X10 has been sitting on this 9 for a while now, ever since the first half was over. So, I think they are actually in immense danger. They are going to call this timeout just as I said that.
It's too many rounds in a row given already, and they haven't found an answer quite yet for Kizuna's defense. Kizuna has been just very unpredictable with how aggressively they play, but most rounds is all about just holding the site. And X10 takes a little bit too long for that rotate, and Kizuna is okay with that. They're saying it's fine. They take too long to rotate, we can just play for the retakes, and the retakes have been very, very impeccable. If you notice, X10 has been managing to get those plants. It's just those post plants have been very shaky.
I agree. What are they gonna do different now? This is like not a question I've been asking X10, at least for these past games. But yeah, I mean, X10 is attacking and Kizuna is actually holding very, very well. I'm just surprised. And that's considering that Shinsei actually whiffed an entire showstopper the previous round and he got the round. It says something.
If anything, that showstopper was more to make sure that no one was playing close. It clears it out, gives him space a little bit to move. Regardless, not too sure what X10 talked about here. Or rather, whether or not they need to take a timeout just to not overthink. Coming forward, I mean, this is a good time for them to call out that timeout anyway, because they are at deficit. Half shields as well as a broken buy. The only thing that Vera has here is a judge. I think if Vera is able to take up space and play the judge, I mean, we saw Dominators do that for VCT Indonesia. And it was very nasty. And speaking of nasty, Shinsei's first contact is huge, finds Egoist.
They want to look for this return, but still not enough to actually take down Shinsei first. So Kizuna is going to one-up them in terms of that. This is exactly what I said. They need to take 1 kill first before they start to feel confident. And this is it. They got it. They got an early sight. All 3 smokes instantly used up here by Wayne. But it doesn't matter because it's already planted for main. Now the issue is Flaring does have smokes. So if they're going to go in for this retake, you know, they're going to need some post plants. Since Egoist is gone, they only got their molly first, otherwise you gotta play up close.
Prowlers is really clear it out, not finding anyone quite yet. Roomba as well. But look at where X10 is placed all the way onto main. They did leave 1 person on main coming forward. They do get displaced. Here's the tap. But immediately this judge by Vera is doing a lot of work. He also has a showstopper. The showstopper finds Riza. Redco with the tabs onto Bryce. Kibi does eventually find Vera. They just have to play for time. The tabs come through. Redco with a cross. And now beautifully done. They were at a disadvantage, but they make it out in the end. What a round.
I respect the fact Vera stayed on site with the judge and the rest of them played up there on main, because when you think that, okay, they've got all the time to plant, they might all be playing up on the main side, so he got smoked out, but Vera decides to just play close and gotten 2, and Rico's got his back. And the most questionable part was, where were the smokes?
Really? We were just
Flaring had
talking.
smokes.
Honestly, at that point, they just wanted to go for the retake. Maybe it was a little bit of an overestimation of what they can do, or maybe underestimation for the guns that Extend had. They weren't expecting the judge from Vera. Ray 4. I wanted to say it's a Ray 4C moment, but not really. Ray 4C just jumps in your face and just shoots you out.
True. I mean, you know the best part about it is Vera was also concussed.
Yeah, he was. I mean, that's the beauty of the judge, right? Because you don't really have to be super accurate. Because the damage from it is just so nasty. Shinsei finds one immediately. This is a huge flank and beautifully done. Finds two. Rolling Thunder as well as the ultimate, the orbital strike. Nasty. Finds Egoist as well. They were already finding the members of Extend even before they got onto the site.
Okay.
And now, a good displacement, at least a good recovery from Redco. Finds one. Flash. And now suddenly they're smoked out.
That's fine. This is the reset we're talking about here in a 4-on-2. They did a lot of work already to take down X10 and Kizuna right now. They can just play the numbers. They've got the spike in their sights as well. They don't need to rush. And now they know Flaring's up there on CT as well. They got their, they got their 6, they got their 12, everywhere to look forward, and their utilities are running low. That was his last util, by the way, for Vera.
Yeah, with 3-4 members to worry about, it's gonna be a big problem for Redco. This is just finally a round where they finally have good buys. They can't go for one more. A displacement, unfortunately whiffed. Kimi finds Redco first. No, what can Vera do? Vera rushes forward, good for one.
Okay, still in the end, Vera tries to take what he can, but X10 still manages to actually take one round first before Kizuna continues that tirade. Still a pretty close one, but the undeniable thing is that X10 just needs literally just one more game to finish the series here. Kizuna putting up a fight. They are not backing down, and they still have economy to carry forward at least next 2 rounds here. Staggering their utility will be the name of the game here, and Kimi can start off with that Rolling Thunder, and Shinsei following up with Showstopper. So far, I feel like Kizuna doesn't really need to push that matter, but they did the previous round and they were successful. So anything can work right now for Kizuna as long as they get ahead in the game.
It's been really hard for Extend to really figure out how exactly each round is going to go, because sometimes Kizuna plays so passive.
Yeah.
Sometimes you expect the pincer. And just now was really quick with that pincer too. Was Shinsei coming in from A main and just catching them on main itself. The ultimates come out, even the Nightfall. It was just so oppressive. Vera aggressive this time around onto the side, even the Rolling Thunder.
You should run.
Unfortunately, he does go this vulnerable and has to narrowly dodge that aftershock.
Yeah.
Shinsei with the Showstopper does find one, and Bryce finds Redco at the same time. Wade with just the classic finds a one at the same time, but I would say that this round is just going to be taken away, and now we go back to 10-10. A big lead by X10, but Kizuna comes back.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair as well, they were on eco, so Kizuna should have actually just flared on for that. And flare on they did. Very, very nice Rolling Thunder even committed for that, even though they knew X10 was ecoing, because Vera was pushing the issue, right? The moment he heard the blast pack, he instantly pushed out the Rolling Thunder to catch someone. The aftershock was a tad off angle, considering there's a cast range.
Yeah.
So he hit from that, it's okay. But to know that X10 didn't have the gun, so Kizuna could easily just push in and finish. And right now, who's mounting on the ultimates will be Bryce coming up soon. But still, the push out, Redco gets double flaring. Only one trade, not enough. Kimi makes it good. Down 3-3 earlier start, and they are still pushing on. Very, very good push from X10. It's been a while since they got a man advantage on this.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you were looking, just now was only one round taken away before Kizuna took 2 more. Coming slowly from Canteen, here will be Riza. He still has some utility to play with, but look at this cross coming in from Tower. The Seekers will be used, a flash as well. You saw that the Seas does actually connect onto Redco. He hasn't moved at all. Just try to go for a pix. Another one is just peeking.
Where's the Season Nanoswarm combo, right?
Yeah.
But nope, it didn't come out in time. They know at least our Sky is still there, and they will commence out. Double pick from Towers makes it good.
So good. Because when you put Redco in that corner, a lot of the, I would say, a lot of their minds, or rather their attention was on Redco. They were expecting that swing out from Temps. And the thing is, look at these rounds here. Because Kizuna has been chaining these rounds. It's just 2 rounds later, X10 managed to figure it out. This is why Kizuna wants to take the momentum away. They have to really figure out, okay, we won 2, but lost 1 more. What is the change that X10 did that gave them the man advantage?
The only big difference between this and the previous 2 maps is that, like, of course, we're still on the edge of our seats. But the difference is only that X10 is just having more in their face here when they know that Kizuna actually can take maps. It's only a matter of whether they can actually finish it first. Like, what's the best thing that happened here? 13-11 earlier on. Kizuna still has buys for 2 more rounds. That's about it. These are still close, but speaking of close, the X10 just needs to close it out if they don't want to, mount on future games, I may say, because going to the 4th and 5th game, this is where the mental really starts to break.
On top of that, if you want to go, giving Kizuna overtimes as well as 2 more maps can make the games a lot longer. And I think for both teams coming in forward as they go toward Bleed tomorrow, they want to be able to get that rest, that time to recuperate. And playing 5 games is not going to work out well in their favor.
Yeah, and Bleed has all the time in the world to just look at these maps and study them.
Wait, did you see that lineup from Bryce? I have never seen that before.
I missed it, but I believe I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I saw it on
outside?
Comfy before.
Yeah, it was outside. So it's a very interesting way of approaching how to hold tower. Again, clearing up here will be Redco. And I think this is good because you really got to make sure that Shinsei isn't pushing out. Because so many times that Shinsei plays aggressive, he gets so big in terms of his multi-frags. Shinsei this time playing inside of drop itself. So sorry, not drop, but ropes itself. He doesn't push out quite yet. He knows that someone in close finds Wayne, immediately clears him out. It's just not good situation. But 6 HP though, just satchels out, displaces them. Egoist answers back, and he go for 2. No need to, but attempts, and Redco is there.
No, Egoist just came out there from CT and has his back instantly. This is just the power. You're in the right place at the right time. Knowing when to pick is so important right now. And you know the man is just whipping down. Bryce comes in too hot already. He will equalize it, and no one's on default. He's got a down, but he is blinded, and it's just so good right now. X10 bring it to a match point, potentially series point now.
Oh man, X10 finally finding the answer as to what they need to stop this rampage from Kizuna Esports. 2 in a row already. Sometimes that break is just really needed. And this is why I said, in terms of what 2 brains can bring to the table than just 1.
2 brains is better than 1. Time to get surgery, I'm saying.
I'm just gonna disregard that, but coming back into this game here, X10, that was a very, very good round. Understanding and clearing out Shinsei has given them a lot of value because it stops him from being too aggressive and going in for that first picks, or first multi-picks rather.
This could be a fast 3-game series, or it's going to be a comeback of a lifetime by Kizuna as they mount on in. Flaring starts a hot, immediately trades out. Your smoker is gone, but still it's already launched out right now. Bryce got some good, but off the camera, Wayne gets through just like this. It's already 3-on-2, look like to be over.
Oh, here we go. What can you do? Redco finds Bryce in the end, and the ultimate will be expended just to clear out Canteen. Tams with 53 HP. Doesn't really matter. With 3 in a row, Kizuna goes down to a 3-0. What can you do? They tried so very hard to bring it back, but it always feels a little bit too late, and X10 knows how exactly to exploit this.
Man, really tried so hard, and they came so far. Of course, the cheesy quote that it doesn't even matter because they don't get to proceed. Doesn't matter. Top 3 already. I think it's a good testament in itself. They came so far only to be stopped by at least one of the biggest orgs in Asia itself. So no harm done there. I think they played so well still. The mental fortitude that they demonstrated for those comebacks is to be commended. All right?
Honestly, what's really important to talk about is the fact that both these teams played in one team before, at least the core members. It was Lou coming forward, and it was such a read on read here for both teams, understanding each other because it's split 1. They were from separate teams. Now coming into this game, I have to say, from Lotus all the way to Fracture, it's been such a roller coaster for us, a tug of war if you may, because on one half it was all toward X10, on the second half it was all toward Kizuna, but at the end of the day, X10 knows how to really not only just take it back, but also take a step back and say, okay, we just need 2 rounds, what do we need to do, and then chain it back in return.
I mean, in their own right, the X10 had a story to tell. You know, Redco, like you said, also from LVR, a couple of Bryce and Shinsei too. Redco is struggling to find members or a home that he can stay, and he's found it in X10. I think he's yelled out so well. His callouts have been impeccable, and the plays have really shown as a result of his IGLing. nothing much to really take around from that besides the fact that Kizuna is always placed on the lower end. So much struggle and almost made it work. What a beautiful ace again.
I think what's really commendable for Kizuna is the fact that for last split, they were down at the bottom 3. And you can tell that, you know, it was just so unlucky because they met the strongest 3 teams so very early. But they came back with a different mindset this season with a whole different team. And it looks so good for them. Regardless, I think for X10, I mean, we talked about them on split 1. Let's talk about them on split 1 here for X10. How I said that they were very mechanical, very rigid. They weren't very fluid. But with the changes to the team, taking in Redco, I think what's really good about it, as well as Wayne as well coming into the team, it shows a little bit more fluidity in how exactly they play. They're very, very flexible in how exactly they want to do things. And their micro adjustment, their mid-range adjustments have just been nasty. Now, again, with Kizuna, I think what's really heartbreaking is the fact that they've been working on this secret sauce, this one particular take for every single map to make it good. And what's not broken, they don't fix. They just make it better. But X10, a team that's just so good at counter playing, outstratting, is just showing that they're just being red.
I would say like making the secret sauce does involve cooking, and I guess they took too long to preheat the stove. But still, all in all, a huge congrats to X10 to be facing Bleed tomorrow in the Ultimate Grand Finals. But I kid you not, guys, if there's a brand out there that you should be looking at, it is Kizuna. I really hope they get sponsors. I hope they get the attention they deserve, because when you say that they were a team that just came together trying to get competitive experience, and trust me, they are not walking away empty-handed. They will carry this on forward. I really hope to see them next split or next year's VCT, if I may say, because in the local NYSG scene, trust me, this is the platform to be bringing out all these up-and-coming players. You know, I mean, a lot of people here, it's the first time gracing the VCT stages, especially Wayne. This is the first time for him.
Yeah,
but
he just got the age requirement to make it here.
I mean,
and to go this far, what a prodigy.
Exactly. I mean, other prodigies as well, Shinsei, to be very fair.
It was from the Bleed Academy prior.
As well as Zan from Enigma. These are powerhouses. You gotta keep your eyes on them, because what makes a Valorant team, it's 5 players. How you want to gel together and communicate, it's a whole other ball game. But still, for them to make top 3 here, no small feat. Do not sleep on these teams.
Regardless, I have to say, but what a series that X10 and Kizuna brought to us. While map 1 was a little bit more skewed toward X10's side. The last 2, though, it really could see that Kizuna wanted to take it back. But X10 was just riding off that heat. Temps will be our MVP. And honestly, are you surprised? I think for all 3 maps, you can put his name up there, because in this situation, not only are his multi-frags so big, but also his ability to trade as well as multi-frag. It's just been so very huge. I think that this, I would say this idea even, like, I mean, if you want to put a lot of, you know, a lot of attention, if you want to talk a lot about the attention put onto the team, you really got to give it to Redco as well, because at the end of the day, the calls were his.
It's actually really funny that Redco is spending most of his time in front, because most of the time he's actually behind.
Yeah.
But for today's game, he's mostly at the forefront and he's delivering, which is impressive.
I think that we really got to talk about that as well, because like if you think about individual play, today has been the best I have seen X10 play in a long time. There was a lot of questions coming forward, I think because there was a 2-0 prior to this losing to Kizuna.
Yeah.
But I had already suspected that it was going to be microscoped, and that was exactly what we saw, that microscope. And I was really disappointed that we couldn't go all the way up to Pearl, because Pearl would have been, I would say, a testament
to
as
actually
to
take a deep dive and see how they play.
And see how they play, because those maps are just their signature maps. Regardless, I think coming forward here, Lotus is now their newer playground. I loved seeing that map in particular, how they play the takes. It was very, very skirmishy, but I loved entire 3 series.
Hope to see definitely more of them in the future, and maybe an analyst desk in the future as well to actually really break it down. But seriously, I feel like Kizuna can also take it up very well, considering they 2-1 Enigma Gaming in the top brackets first. That's something to definitely take away. So they're going to have this as their accolades. But speaking of which, right now we're going to go on with a winner interview. I think we are looking forward to this, to speak with the members here for X10.
Hi, Redco. Oh my God, look at your face. You're so very excited, clearly. So my question now is, how do you feel winning this? And were you expecting this win to be a 3-0?
Honestly, I expected a 3-0 because our recent form is like, we're pretty strong right now. And honestly, most of the games that we lost was like me not fragging. So I kind of changed everything. And right now,
so that's
like, everyone's stepping up. Yeah, everyone's like stepping up, you know. So I'm really happy for the 3-0. Yep.
that's literally what I said before he came on the interview. Like Redco is actually in front, was doing the frags, and he did it. So that really changed the dynamic of the game. Tell me very quickly, how's your experience right now? Being X10 after a long time in Louvre. Do you find like the people there are just amazing?
I feel like even when I was not fragging last time in group stage, all my teammates were super supportive about me, and everyone was like telling me criticism and feedback, which helped me improve also. So it looks like I found my family, I guess, finally.
I mean, like, technically, Louvre was also your family for a while, but I think that it looks a lot better here. I want to talk about the dynamics of your team, honestly. I mean, we always talk about how Redco is the big brain of the team, but let's talk about the dynamics between you, your coach, as well as the players. Individually, do you tell them to do everything, or is it all just individual plays at this point and individual decision-making?
It kind of depends. If like the strategy is like already set in stone, then my whole team will know about it. But sometimes I like to do my own calling, so I'll tell everyone what to do. And between me and my coach, we actually spend a lot of time together. So I'm just happy it paid off, yeah.
So good. I want to know, actually, what was the biggest struggle you had going up against Kizuna? No matter the first map, second map, or the third map.
I guess for the team, it's just my calling, because I choke a lot and it happens. And it's like, the mental block. So I kind of need to cool down, and my teammates are like helping me with that. So it's more like the mental block when you see the scores going up and up on the enemy side. When they're coming back and you feel like, oh man, nothing's working, you need to change something. So my teammates are always helping me, giving me ideas, which really helps me a lot.
So you see that obstacle is not what's coming from the enemy team, it's internal themselves, and they manage to solve it. That is good.
Okay, so my final question for you is, tomorrow you'll be facing off against Bleed. Now, your last match, you went 2-1, and one of the maps you took off from them was Split. Now, what are you expecting from Bleed tomorrow, and what do you want to say to them?
I guess I expect their A game also, because everyone's competing for this Ascension spot, right? And because we're both the grand finalists, we obviously put our best out. So I got nothing much to say. I guess it's just all the best and like have fun, I guess.
So non-toxic. Totally not Redco, but thank you so much for Redco, and congratulations on your win. See you on the big stages tomorrow. Good luck. Bye.
Yeah, what a lad he is. And when he first came on camera with his smile, it's exactly what I see in his those Stinger videos and stuff. An amazing chat. I really hope he goes far. And like I said, he found a family in X10. Really, I think that's an org to grow, and definitely good luck for them in tomorrow's match.
I think for a while now, Louvre, prior, the team members were all looking for a home. They were looking for a team or an organization to pick them up, and now they've been separated. It is a little bit sad, especially if you look at their comms coming into the last game of Louvre last season. But at the end of the day, we are still moving forward, even though the players are still, separated. Let's have a look at the brackets to tell a little bit more of a story about the teams. Now, we start off here with all of these teams. And we saw, I think, coming in toward the semi-finals was where I think the story really started to get very interesting.
Yep. Because I think throughout the entirety of Split 1 and Split 2, the teams have been mounting on trying to write down their chapters of how they can grow themselves. And we are already approaching the end of Split. So the teams that really, what was expected to be top 3, top 4, Enigma, Bleed, Kizuna and X10, now they're already closing out the final ones here. Bleed, of course, the masters to be dethroned, which is highly unlikely, but one can pray, one can hope. But really, they set the standards, and if you want to beat the best, you first got to beat the rest, and that's exactly what X10 did.
I think for a lot of people, wanting Kizuna to go forward was wanting to see that Cinderella story come through. But at the same time, for X10, it was all about the story of determination and trying to beat the rest to come up on top. These teams all have a story to say, and honestly today, X10 coming in 3-0 after losing a 2-0 to Kizuna is honestly a statement on how far they've improved and how each loss is a lesson for them.
Yeah, guys, it's really in competition. Sometimes it really isn't about winning or losing most of the time, because there are winners and there are losers just as there are the sun and the moon. It's just a matter of what you do after the result. How do you move on forward? What do you learn? And honestly, anyone who has participated in any competitive title has already won, all right? And this is where the competitive experience mounts on. It will carry forward for the next few tournaments. So this is going to be all. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zeno Viper. Once again, it's Tash Bunny. We're going to sign off here. Shout out once again to Riot Games and One Esports, of course, Astro Arena and TGC for making this possible. Tomorrow is the grand finals, where we will see who will represent one extra spot in Ascension. So take care and see you tomorrow.
A.
My ult's ready.
One enemy remaining. You could have seen it down. C. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Out from me.
One enemy. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Three. Grenade out. Heart destroyed.
One down. B.
Three.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One player standing. Enemy remaining. A. Player standing. One enemy. Attackers.
Really, really enjoyed that map. And talent, you can see tons of talent on this team. But they're jealous. They're playing so very well.
The door is open for these new teams coming into the league to really make an impact.
And it works! Oh! They will make it happen! Bossy, the only one left! Back. And they don't like springing out of nowhere.
VCT Asia Pacific.
We'll see you in Bangkok, Thailand.
Look at this.
This is going to be so fun.